Hello everybody. What is up? Prowl of the house, Terrabin, Ligma, Dragon Tail. Appreciate you guys being here. Thank you. How's everybody doing this morning? I have a video rendering in the background right now, actually. Where is it? There we go. So I had a video rendering right now. It's the video that goes along with the Word document. And if you hear the music, this audio skipping, it's because of the rendering that's happening in the background right now. Hey, Clayface, how's it going? Timo, what's up? What's up? So it's the Word document that goes along with this is the Word document that goes along with the video, the one that we did on tool progression. I need to make a good thumbnail for it. And what I really wish I could have been able to like figure out or find was like some kind of good representation of what a tool would look like in Reforj. I couldn't find anything. Probably should have had like Terrabin whip it up for me in some AI software or something. Terrabin's the AI master. AI art master. I wonder if I could like not to use, but I'm just kind of curious, right? Because like my idea for how a tool, like let's say a pickaxe, would look in Reforj. I'm no master. You're the AI master. Okay, that is what you are currently known as. Like, look, I imagined that like this tool, right, would have like some kind of like cool like disjointed look to it. And like I have another piece right here. You know how like the stuff in Reforj kind of has this like magical, like floaty thing to it. You know what I mean? And then like there's like some kind of like magical like presence that like aura that like kind of connects everything together. And like maybe like the noble glass shard would be like part of this, and it just kind of has this like magical like thing to how it works. And obviously it would look a lot better, but it'd have like that cool disjointed look to it. Would be really freaking awesome. Almost like those explosion sculptures that show the detail of every piece that goes into it. I'm not familiar with that. But like this looks like it's broken. I wouldn't want it to look like it's broken. Like it should look like it's a thing. So maybe the art would have to work differently. Maybe it would be like more like the stick being the hilt. And then like the pickaxe part, you know? And then like maybe there's some kind of like crystal like portion that's here. And then there's like some kind of like airy like magical look that kind of like makes it feel like it's making things connect and like makes this like feel magical. I don't know. Oh, I know what you're talking about, Ligma. I think I've seen those. Okay, but anyways, you know, I don't have the capability of doing that. If they liked my idea, they'll have an art team. But I would have liked to have something like that for like a thumbnail. The idea is no fun. I've got a meeting this morning with 3 of the directors of my company to work on building my new role. Oof, yeah, I can understand, man. Anybody would feel anxious to that, though. I don't think that's an uncommon thing. I'd be really anxious. Ooh, and I'm not normally a super anxious person. So we do have the Reforj Q&A stream happening pretty soon. So we'll be listening to that. I probably need to make a area in my little notebook, my notepad here, to take notes in. Let's see. Developer notes. And then 5/8/25 stream, dev stream. And then I'll take some notes in here, and then we'll try to like organize them, and then maybe we'll make a video out of it. Hey Matt, how's it going, dude? Thanks for the resub. Oh heck yeah, like my happy early birthday, dude. And maybe we'll even try to squeeze some questions in. I'm curious about a couple things like world simulation, when we might see gateways come to the pre-alpha. Two things I'm curious about. Where is, okay, cool. My render's done. I can upload now. Create, upload, burning, good morning. Videos, feedback, tool upgrade system. Let's drag that bad boy on over. Get that upload started. I need to find something. Is there something I can use? Looking for like a futuristic Uncle Teddy. What's up, Ted? I want to find like an image of a like futuristic looking pickaxe that could somehow be part of hey, there's those biddies. Some type of like pickaxe looking thing that looks like it could even remotely fit into a Reforj. That's an axe, not a pickaxe. Maybe the head of the pickaxe could be modeled after a mattock, and then Reforj could call it a mattock. No, I mean, it could just still be a pickaxe. I don't see a problem with that. If I had a good art program I knew, and I didn't have to sit here and search for it, I'd hop into one and try to like a couple of prompts. Something like futuristic, like polygon pickaxe, or futuristic geometric pickaxe, like something like that. Just to see if I get something that kind of feels like it could fit. No, it's funny. A lot of the pickaxes I'm seeing are like Fortnite pickaxes when I look, because that's what the game just thinks of when you put in pickaxe, or that's what Google thinks of when you put in pickaxe. 1-2 3D sculpt is a good one, but is it free? Do I have to sign up for crap? Is it a long process? That's what something I can input something into real quick. Corn harvest. Be quiet. Quiet you. I just typed that in to Google. I don't see. Oh, is it this? This is like an AutoCAD thing. It's not a an AI software, AI art thing. You guys are literally no help. Like 0% help. Open image in new tab. See, that kind of has some interesting shapes. Oh, dude. I could maybe work with something like this. So like I could take this, pop it into here. Let's see. I'm sorry, am I getting paid to help? Yeah, you're getting paid with entertainment. I swear, if this freaking program crashed my PC, I'm gonna crash out. File, new from clipboard. Here's the hard part. But look, what I'm thinking is like I could take this, I could disconnect the hilt from the rest, disconnect these side parts, recolor it, and that might look pretty good. Object select tool. What is that? I've never seen this tool. Is it supposed to like tell? Dude, if this object select tool actually works, I'm going to lose my mind. I don't understand what that's doing. Oh, I don't have it selected. Machine learning models. The object selection tool requires the segmentation model to be installed. Huh? Okay, sure. Okay. Oh man. That's like really hurting the like, oh man, what is happening? So wait, I just like do this to tell it the objects like in here. What did that just do? Oh, I have a small filter. Wait, select, deselect. I have like this sub layer accidentally created. Okay. So wait, let me take this. Let me rasterize it. Let me zoom out a little bit. I've never seen this. I wonder if this will work. It'll make life so much easier if it does. It worked. Oh, well, yeah, that's fine. Select, deselect. Look at that. Holy crap. Gives you a couple terabits. You're supposed to be worrying about your stuff. Those look kind of cool. Feel very Minecrafty. Yeah, let me see what I can do with this. Hold on. So watch this, right? I'm going to take this guy. I'm going to hit it with a recolor. Maybe, wait, hold on. I don't want to hit it with recolor yet. I don't want to recolor the whole thing. Oh, what happened down there? Select, deselect. Okay. So now what if I go here and just kind of like trace this? And then I can just kind of do that. I could take this guy. I can move him down. Select, deselect. Okay. And then I could maybe just do similar with this. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. How disconnected does that feel? 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 10. Something like that, maybe. Hey, Reforj, what's up, dude? This is working pretty good. Kind of get rid of like some of the shadowing a little bit. It looks kind of weird, or shading. Okay. Showing what are you doing? Hey, Golden. I wanted to try to make a something that feels like it could kind of fit as a pickaxe. So I found this like this model, and I'm just modifying it, and I want to just put it in a thumbnail. Okay. So I got this, right? So I think what I want to do is just put this on a few different layers. So I can just like grab like this guy right here. Copy paste. Oh no, what did that just do? Oh. Copy paste. Hit the delete button here. Select, deselect. Okay, so now these are separate from each other. So like this guy right here, I could recolor this to make it like a don't worry, it'll apply it properly. I want like more of like a lighter brown for this hilt. I do that. That looks kind of cool. And then like for this guy right here, I could go recolor. I don't know, make it like a cool like bluish color. Can we get rid of the reaction thing on YouTube side, please, if possible? Oh. Let me find it. Because, yeah, it defaults that stupid thing to being on. I never think about it because I don't see it. Live reactions. There we go. Be a little bit more bright. That. Like, I could merge that in. And then, like, this dude right here, I can do a, like, glow or something to it. Hit it with something like this. Bring the intensity down some. And then like I can like take this whole dude here. Here, let me like merge these layers back together, merge down. I could copy this. Oh gosh, what did I just do it? Okay, copy this. And then I would need to figure out my like what background I'm going to use here. Probably like an outliner or something. It's not going to look good because of the way that the texture's made up. Is that a diamond pick or something else but recolored to look like a diamond pick? It's just this random like 3D model tool I found. And I just wanted to try to make some sort of a like a representation of a tool in Reforj. What if I like took the key art? Can I like suck some color out of this maybe? Maybe go to vibrance. If I just made it like completely grayscale, it'd be kind of funny. I don't know what I want to do yet. This blends too much though. I can't do that. Oh, it actually looked like a Reforged thing. That's good. What I want. And then it'll be titled something like New Tool System. What if you mirrored it to make the shining thing appear from the direction the promo art's sunlight is? Oh, like a where's transform at? There's usually a transform thing, and then I can horizontally flip it. I don't understand why I don't have that. Like I would normally do that here. Geometry. Transform. Okay, there it is. Flip horizontally. Yeah, now the big thing is just like this blends in way too much. I need to have a darker background. I know what I could do. This might look kind of interesting. Watch this. This is the top layer. This is the bottom layer. So I'd go to this, go to vibrance, take all of that out, take all of this out, merge. Okay. And then I go here, and then I pick gradient. Something like this. So then the color's kind of like fading out. That looks kind of neat. That's a cool effect. That looks really cool. I think it works for my skill level at doing this sort of thing. Oh, Terrabin. Sorry, man. I didn't keep looking. Yeah, those aren't bad. I don't think they quite fit what I was looking for. Also, they're going to be really hard to trim out of there. I appreciate you trying, though. I think this little thing I worked up is kind of cool. Okay. Export as a JPG. Yeah. Just having fun playing around. Yeah, it could be really hard to like manipulate stuff in AI. You're pretty good at it. Yeah, I will. I have it Klasky on Sketchfab. It's kind of cool. Okay. So then now it's like finish getting the all the video stuff set up. I wanted to release this and get my feedback in before the stream starts. Okay, so something like that. Fix this. Some of these things aren't right. Reuse. Well, I think everything there is good. Reforge, based on what I've seen, is just Minecraft blocks, but with a curve cut, an inverted curve cut, and a 50-50 cut to make it a triangle. I mean, I don't think that's totally true. You're just talking about the block shapes. You know, we're not talking about the gateway system. We're not talking about Aura and how that works. We're not talking about the like really great building like tools with like snapping and things like that. We're not talking about the terrain generation. We're not talking about waterfalls and Y level rivers. Let's say the blocks. So I mean, you know, it's a voxel game, so you know, block they're gonna have similarities. I just kind of hate the terminology. It's Minecraft, but it's kind of like saying Call of Duty is like Counter-Strike, but like a little bit more realistic. And Counter-Strike was like Quake, but in like modern times. And Quake is like Doom, but it's like 3D instead of 2D. Remember? Like, or you know what I mean? Like, it's too easy to draw simple comparisons in games that are in similar genres. I think it does discredit to the whatever the newer game coming out is, especially if they're like coming up with some new things and trying to innovate. StarCraft is just Age of Empires, but like set in the future. Okay. Credit to the 3D modeler found on Classy found on Sketchfab. Okay, this video features an idea I have for a new, not really a new, because there's nothing exists right now, for a tool system for Reforj by at 4J Studios. Oh. I'll be back later. Got a family emergency. Oh, okay, dude. Hope everything goes okay, Ligma. Before Hightail? Yeah, Hightail's announced 6 years ago, and still nobody's played that game, even in like a closed testing environment that we know of. This video features an idea I have for a tool system for Reforj by 4J Studios, in which you level up tools and apply upgrades to them in this unique and interesting progression system. The document I reference in this video can be found on the 4J Discord channel in their feedback section. I don't trust Hightail. Riot Games took over. I mean, I don't know what to think of it. I don't really know a lot about Riot other than I've played Valorant, and like Valorant was cool and fun. All right, we'll leave this in official feedback. And then tools, game mechanics, upgrade system. Okay. Everything's good there. I should have an end screen set. Yeah, we're good here. Save that. Next. We'll just go ahead. I'm just going to make this thing public right now. Oh, yeah. I've seen a lot of people talking about the fog. I haven't really paid that much attention to it yet. I'm going to kind of be back in Minecraft mode next week. Hightail also taken forever because they had to remake it because the engine they were using. Yeah, but still, I don't know, man. I think Hightail will be a fun game, but I don't think it'll be a game that you play for hundreds of hours. I could be wrong, but like it just makes me nervous that they've shared so little about it over the course of 6 years. We know more about Reforj in the last 3 months than we know about Hightail from the last 6 years. You know what I mean? And I don't like the feeling I get from a company that keeps their game that secret after announcing it early. Like sometimes companies don't want to surprise you with a game. I want to kind of shock the system and be like, bam, here you go. Like I can kind of get that. But this, like we know some about it and they've given us little bits of info here and there over a 6-year period of time. So I just think like either share the game or don't. Like either never tell us anything about it or give us a lot of info. Okay, so now I'm just going to post this in their Discord really quick. I'm going to put it in there. I think in the Pioneer section, you have a suggestions area. New posts. New tool and upgrade system. Fully designed. Well, from my perspective, it's fully designed. Hold on a second. I need to see my keyboard. In this post, I have attached a document detailing my upgrade, my tool and upgrade system for Reforj, which boasts some interesting, which highlights some interesting visual and progression designs and thoughts on how tools in Reforj should work in a way that is fun and maintains tool importance throughout the entire game. Features include for full, here is the TLDR. Futuristic looking takes on medieval style tools, leveling system for tools, upgrades based on tool level, such as, similar to what Minecraft enchants do. Power leveling system, cloning system, multi-tool, special multi-block breaking, affecting upgrades. Balanced progression, numerous ways to interact with based on player play style / preference. Enjoy the video and the document. Okay. Sorry guys, I'm trying to the Reforj thing is starting soon, so I need to get this thing done. Save that, no. Save this, yes. Hey, BNSF, thanks, dude. Okay. Got that. Our document file, export, PDF. And then feedback documents, tool system idea, publish. Boom, that looks good. Feedback documents, tool system idea. Attach that. Copy this, post. I'll put this in the public area as well. Feedback, post. And then let's attach that here. Boom, done. All right, we got it. We did it. Any word on when they're expanding the Pioneer program? Not yet. I imagine it'll probably be a little bit longer, but who knows? They could maybe even announce something today, as far as we know. All right, so I got my notepad here. I'm going to keep my little notepad over to the side. Over here. I wonder, do I want to use this? Do I want to use this scene? Probably not. I think I want to keep it on this scene. Thought the Minecraft video was about offhand on Bedrock. Huh? What Minecraft video? All right, so we'll full screen this. So I don't fully know what to expect from the dev stream here. I think we'll get to hear about some new things coming up in the next pre-alpha stage. Let's see what you're talking about, Reforjed. TikTok. Search. Minecraft. Why, when I search Minecraft official channel or try to find the Minecraft channel? Oh, here it is. I don't see anything new on their TikTok. I don't know. I don't see anything new. Yeah, I'm looking at their channels. I don't see anything new from them. Was it on their Twitter? Yeah, I don't understand what paper would have to do with anything with offhand. Like, I don't understand how that would lead to that at all. People were like really wish casting. The whole flat world preset thing was pretty cool. And I did see the thing with all the paper. Yeah, I don't see a crossbow thing anywhere. So anyways, I'm thinking this thing for Reforj will be some type of announcement of what's coming next. Like, what's the next major feature we can expect to see. I'm thinking they're going to showcase some stuff that we already know about more publicly, like sculpting corners of blocks and that sort of thing. And I think they're going to do a little bit of Q&A. And it'll be interesting to see. Maybe we'll try to get some questions in. Do you guys have any questions that you want me to ask? I wanted to ask about how world simulation works. Because I'm pretty sure the entire world is simulated, which means that when we get machines, you can make a farm on literally the opposite side of your world, and it'll still work. It'll still function. There seems to be some things like mobs, for example. I think they have to spawn within a certain radius of the player and will despawn outside of a certain radius of the player. So like a mob farm wouldn't work that way, but like machine-based farms, crops and stuff like that, if those types of things exist, which I'm thinking and hoping they will, those types of things would run all the time, which would be really cool. World sim between gateways. I think there's no way other gateways simulate. It would cause way too much lag, because you might make 5, 10, 12, 50, 20 gateways in your world for different areas. There's no way it would simulate. It wouldn't make sense. I'm even honestly a little bit worried. Watch, see how it works. They'll have to make a good server multiplayer, like software side of things. But like, I'm a little worried about if you have a server with 10 people playing and everybody's inside of their own gateway. How is that going to perform well? I don't know. They're going to have to get really creative with their server software. PC version win? Yeah, I know, right? I hope soon. I would love to just be able to do my normal stream setup and be keyboard and mouse. I really would like to. I believe they will figure it out. Well, I mean, I'm sure they will, but it's not going to be an easy thing to do. But I mean, they have their own custom game engine, so supposedly they would be making their own custom server hardware. They're probably going to need to work with something that's very similar to like an MMO. I guess there is one good thing about simulating the whole world at once. You're never like loading and unloading stuff. So other than somebody just existing in the world, there's no like added lag of like in Minecraft when somebody's traveling around. It's the game has to think to update. Okay, this person's here now. I need to do updates in this area. I need to render this. So maybe outside of like people joining or like like going into a gateway that's not currently simulated, maybe the lag won't be that bad. I'm gonna go grab a fresh water really quick. I'll be right back. All right, there we go. Fresh water. Here, how about this? Let's do this on the YouTube side. Oh no, do I not have this functionality yet? Yeah, I do. Start Q&A. What questions should I ask Jay about Reforj? So if you guys have any questions for me to ask them, you could pop them into that Q&A. I did grab some yogis. Item respawn would be nice to know. What do you mean item respawn? If you're talking item despawn, I know that. Item despawn is 5 minutes, and the whole it loads from the time you die, so it doesn't matter where you are. So the timer starts the second you die, and no matter where it happens, you have to get back there within 5 minutes. And we were so far away, we just couldn't make it there in 5 minutes. They are going to address that. I don't know how yet. If you're in the Reforj discords, make sure you upvote my idea for the tool and upgrade system. Setting respawn point. I mean, that'll be a good thing to have, but that doesn't fix the problem. Because what if I just what if I travel to the other side of my world just getting supplies and something kills me? I just lose all my stuff because I traveled too far away from my spawn point. It doesn't work like that. It won't work like that. I think they need like a proximity based timer. So like when you get within 500 blocks of your stuff, then the countdown timer starts. Like something like that, I think is what they need to do. Because if you die, you should always have like a fair chance to get your stuff back. No, Wild, because they want death to really have meaning and to have the ability for your stuff to get lost. They don't want people to take on some type of like challenge and it be frivolous and they can just die and it's not a big deal. They want challenges to have danger to them. They want death to be a some sort of a negative thing to happen. So dropping and losing your stuff is going to be part of that. But obviously the balance is that's fine, but we need a fair shot to get our stuff back. So if you started a 5-minute timer, when I get within like 500 blocks of it, then I still have to like more exactly locate it. And then depending on what killed me, I have to get past that to get my stuff. Let's say I'm fighting some kind of boss and there's a whole bunch of mobs there or something like that. I'm going to have to get my stuff back through all of that. Like there's a challenge within that. So I like that. Just again, give me a chance. If I die on the opposite side of the world right now, I have no chance. Maybe like 10 minutes. I think it takes 12ish minutes to loop the world. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that would be a more simple solution. But then you got to think of the impact of that. Is Reforj going to be like Minecraft in any way where, you know, we can insta mine a whole bunch of blocks and you have blocks sitting all over the ground? You kill mobs or get some kind of drops like super fast, and those drops have to like travel into some type of container. Because if item despawn is 10 minutes and something like that were to cause too many items to accumulate over a 10-minute period of time, that could cause a lot of lag. So you always have downsides to different things. That's why I think if it's not taxing on the system for them to do it, just make it proxy. Just make it to where I have time to get kind of close to my stuff. And then from there, I have the timer tick down for how long it is until my stuff disappears. Okay. They announced their stream is about to start. I'm gonna like do an announcement on my end too. Okay. And I'll put something out on Twitter too. Okay. Boom. There we go. We're good. I wonder if the loot respawn question was for block regeneration. But if we have gateways, we technically have more access to blocks from other worlds. Yeah. Block regeneration, that would definitely not need to be a thing in any way. Outside of like, you know, planting trees or something like that. Question for the devs. Listen, your questions you need to put them in the Q&A thing. There's something you click on, I don't know on your side how it looks, but like at the top of the screen or something like that, you need to click on the Q&A and put your questions there. Otherwise, I'm not going to find it. There'd be a propulsion system for the wingsuit. Good question. I could tell you my thought on that. I don't think there should be. The world's not big enough. For 4,000 blocks, I don't think you really need it. I think just being able to glide is good enough. And then I think they need to have some good forms of land travel, such as an animal or animals to ride, and some other type of system where you set up a track like a minecart to travel around to areas you've set the infrastructure up for. I think you have like 3 kind of cool categories, right? You have your like faster than walking, but otherwise slower than other methods of like riding an animal around for just like I'm adventuring on ground, right? You have your I'm adventuring and I'm on top of a tall mountain and I just want to like glide really far away. Or maybe even like at your base, you make some like thing to take you up really high in the sky and then you can kind of glide out almost anywhere from there. Then you would have your fastest form of like non-free travel, like requires infrastructure for you to lay out like minecart tracks. And that form of travel is the fastest, but it's going to take some legwork for you to set up all of the paths and maybe even has a cost to use or something like that. I don't know. Full screen. I can kick it into theater mode. I don't want to go full screen unless they like show something like crazy cool. If they're just talking, I'm going to keep like this. And then if they show something really cool, I'll flip it this full screen like that. Okay.
Hello.
There we go.
You can hear us. Welcome to the first official Reforj
That's
stream
Nathan.
ever, and the first stream from 4J Studios in months. My name is Nathan. I'm the community manager of 4J Studios, and I'm joined by Joe and Tom. How you guys doing? Say hi.
Doing great. Hi everyone.
How's it going?
Oh, it's been so long since we've been live on Twitch. We're also live on YouTube, so you can choose what platform you're on.
All right.
But yeah, we're going to do some game demos. We're going to show you everything about Reforj and maybe some new stuff. So
okay,
let's get into it, shall we? What are you guys up to in the game right now?
I don't know.
Ooh, diving right in.
Placing blocks down and having a good time. Trying out the new corner sculpting.
Ooh.
What are those bricks?
Yeah, I guess we
Are those just the regular stone
bricks?
bricks?
So we're playing on, for those who are in the Pioneer program, we're playing
Corner
on a
sculpting.
slightly later build, but with things that will hopefully be coming sooner. And so one of the issues that we had with kind of Reforj in the build that's out in the Pioneer program was that you couldn't make any corner shapes. But there is a version now where, as you can see, the sort of
I'll try to boost it.
Tom's doing to create. So do you want to kind of talk for a little bit how it works? Because it's a little bit different depending on how you use it.
So we had a little. We kind
I think that's on their end.
together in the
Oh,
end.
no, that's on my end.
So we were originally thinking it would be about, you know, which corner of the element are you looking at, and then whichever sculpting tool you've got makes that shape. But then we're like, but there's different corners for different like orientations. For example,
All right, that should be better.
here, let's just make one of those. This creates like an outwards stair shape. Whereas if I was to do this, it creates like an inner corner shape. So
This
it's
works
kind
good.
of-
I like this.
What it's doing is it's taking neighboring elements and kind of going, okay, what corner shape should I make here?
This works good.
And then working it out.
Yeah, so there's actually, for most of the corner shapes, there's at least 2 different shapes that you can make, but you're just using the same tool. It's not a separate menu you've got to go to. So maybe show with the slopes as well,
Yeah,
because it
so
kind of does
that's
something
your
similar.
default one for a corner, because that's like an inwards. You know, if you're building one of these kind of builds, you've got that. But however, you can also create that shape.
Oh, interesting. So basically,
so
this
we've got
gives
two
you the
different
ability to
corners.
do what exists in a
Hopefully
train.
it's intuitive. We're still playing around with it just now and getting a feel for it, but you know, early access, I guess.
Well, one thing to mention, because when I first saw it, I was like, oh, I hope that's not too fiddly or needs too much precision. But like, it's actually really generous. If you kind of aim, so even though the UI element's quite small to show like it's this corner getting broken, you have quite like a wide range.
That's
like, you
really
don't have to
cool.
be really exact. And it also does the same rules for normal sculpting, whereas if you sculpt one and then keep moving, you'll keep making the same shape down a row. You don't have to be like perfectly accurate every time.
I'll build something. I'm going to create some as well. Switch over to here, but I can do something like this, where if I so the corner of that, and then this. That's
Really cool.
basically the
That's
start of a pyramid.
Yeah, and like off angle as well, like
Yeah.
not aligned with like the voxels.
It's like I've not put it to use yet, but you
Yeah.
know, give someone a bit more time, and I'm sure they can come up with some cool shapes and designs.
It's funny because it doesn't seem like the biggest thing in the world, but it's like it changes it so much because it was these
Very
sort of
nice.
shapes used to be in the game, but through a much less intuitive version. That was back when there was hundreds of shapes you could create by sculpting things multiple times, and it all sounds great, but it all took a little bit too long and was a little bit too fiddly, and so that's why we simplified it. But then now it's sort of gradually enabling those things so we can sort of build the sort of things that we kind of used to do.
That'll be
with
really
earlier
nice for
builds,
being able
but now
to
it's kind
do
of
terrain.
much easier, and so we're really looking forward
terraforming.
to people having a play with it and seeing kind of what they're able to create. Because I mean, one of the big things is that if you broke the terrain, you could never make the same sort of shapes. Like these sort of angles you see in the grass, you could never create. Like once they're broken, that's it. And so you will have like weird shapes. Now you can, I think you can make basically any shape that the natural, at least like the
Look at that.
grass and dirt
Most
can
shapes.
be.
There are a couple of exception shapes, and I'm not going to go searching for them. But we're thinking of ways how we introduce those to the game, or if we do. Well, if players, if you're finding a shape that you're like, I want to remake that. Yeah, I want to see what the appetite for those kind of shapes
All right,
are.
I like it.
It's like
I'm
we're-
down.
We're trying to keep things simple, so you know we don't want to fill up the sculpting
Yes.
tool wheel with a billion different.
'Cause, yeah,
tools.
that makes it way
We
too
really
hard.
want to make corner
Too
sculpting
intimidating.
part of the other tools as opposed to
Yeah.
another new tool, and we do think there will be a demand for like lots of tools with lots of niche uses, but for now, like our default set and at least current set is a much simpler set, so we're not overwhelming new players as well.
Yeah, but we will be adding more shapes. There's
Yeah.
a few that we're thinking of already. That
I think
ones
it's
we'll be
their
getting
music that's
requested
too
as
loud.
well. So there will be
Yeah, 'cause
more
my
kind of
Xbox
added
is
to that
off.
sort of base set. So yeah, the plan for the stream is so Tom's going to be just building as we chat. If there's anything in particular that you want him to build,
Oh wow!
bearing in mind we have about an hour to
Look at
do
that
it, so don't
rounded
go
corner
too crazy.
edge.
If anyone's
Holy
got any
crap.
suggestions in the chat
What?
to kind of give Tom a little bit of a test or a challenge, we can do that. And then also Nathan's going to be looking through and just answering as many questions
That's
as we
crazy.
can. So if there's
Yeah.
any
What did he
questions
just
that you
build?
have about Reforj, about its development up to now, some future plans. Obviously we can't say everything because we want there to be surprises, but we'll answer as many questions as we can.
For sure. I see Squid in the chat. Hi, Squid. Squid says, "Are wheels in the game yet?"
Oh, you can make smaller
Yeah.
circles now than you used to be able to, like kind of more of a sphere-like shape with the corners.
Yeah, I could create like, oh, not that one. If I did something like this, not picking the wrong shape every time. Something like that. Could create like a hemisphere, so you can make like a hubcap of like if you were to make like a large, I don't know, round-looking vehicle, you could do that.
That's kind of crazy.
Cool.
I know Squid really wants like drivable vehicles. That was I tried to him the other day.
I would not like
the
that.
The big thing he wants is
I want
drivable
these
vehicles.
things too. We'll get there one day, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'd mentioned to him that in older builds of the game, before it was Reforj, when it was a tech demo of the Elements engine, there were vehicles running in the game. They don't fit within the world and the lore of Reforj, so we'd have to rework them. But tests have been done to make sure that vehicles work, because it's obviously a voxel-based game. It's, you know, it's all jagged and blocky and stuff, you know, so there had to be tests to make sure that you could drive a buggy or this giant one wheel, you know, over the terrain and it would work, and it does. And so that's fine. The engine can handle it really well. So
I think that was the sort of like the point of like, okay, the engine can handle this, but now we want to make like a survival game, and we need to work our way there, because a survival game that you could just, you know, instantly craft a car and then drive around, it doesn't feel like you work towards it. So
one of the things that we don't have yet, but we'll hopefully have sooner than later, is like a storage container. And so there's sort of certain things that we want. There's a priority list of, we want to get more of like the basic, you know, survival fundamentals, things like a cooking station, a smelting station, storage, those sort of things. And then once we've kind of got those fundamentals in, that's when kind of some of the crazier, I guess, more exciting stuff will be added. But we've got to get that first basic right first, because otherwise that initial game loop just won't be fun.
Someone in chat earlier asked, will it become easier to sculpt the underside of an element? That's a good question.
I think I know what you're talking about. It's like where, say, if I want to sculpt like... Yeah, I can't reach the underside of that.
Yeah, so you'd have to dig under to then go up. You got any thoughts about that?
The only thought I've had is I want to be able to do it. I just don't know how yet. So, I got some thoughts in my head, but I don't want to share them just yet, because I don't want to commit to like, we're going to solve that now.
Yeah, I think that there are ways it could be done. There are things we do where, obviously with the corner sculpting or with the column mining tool, where on an element you look.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He's saying exactly what I just said.
So that could be a possibility. There's also been ideas, not specifically for this, but for other things where. With crouching, like maybe if you're crouching and you use a sculpting tool, maybe that's like an alternate mode.
Changes the way it works.
Yeah, because we want to add that functionality, but we don't want to make the base functionality more difficult at the same time.
That's really strange looking.
Too much precision. So, so definitely something with like it's something that we've noticed as well. You know, it's not a huge problem, but it would be nice to be able to not need to do that in those cases. I like that, like bulbous window that you've done there.
It's like on the end of like the space station where you can go out and see the.
Yeah.
Is that a space station? Is that something you want to see built? Because I don't mind building a space station.
Go on, just go. Start building.
Yeah,
start building. If anyone's got any suggestions for what Tom should add in or on his space station,
cool. Let's do it.
Vehicles.
I'll keep it close to the surface.
Let me see. Did you guys put in any questions in the Q&A yet?
One of the other things I should probably explain. I kind of jumped into the Pioneer program. I realized that, you know, not everyone
We get a pocket
here,
ride either.
you know, might be on the Discord or know kind of exactly what's going on with Reforj. So we really recently launched the Pioneer program, which is a closed alpha. So it's a really early version of the game. It's private at the moment. You can apply to be added.
Golden, I think your like pocket ride idea would largely be
at the moment it's on Xbox
like the
only,
wingsuit.
but,
Honestly,
the game is you know, we're developing it for PlayStation 5 and PC as well, so ultimately it will come to other platforms eventually. And so for those players, they can basically play a version of Reforj that we'll kind of continue to update, and we're going to be gradually expanding it and adding more people in as well. So if you look on the Discord, I don't know if there's a link somewhere else, Nathan.
At the top of the chat.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so even though we've selected this first batch, we're going to keep expanding it, as I said. And so if you apply, you don't ever need to reapply. Like, we've kind of got your information.
Yeah, once your name is in,
when we
you're
add
in.
more people, we'll kind of let you know, and we'll
I don't think that's something that they plan.
Some of the stuff we'll be talking about are things that we're going to be adding to this version of the game, and one of them is some stuff that was added. Was it today or yesterday? The hotfix.
Hotfix was yesterday.
Was yesterday. Yeah. So there's a few things we added, just kind of some nice quality of life things, as well as some bug fixes. But one of them is being able to choose the time of day, as well as
that was nice.
Such a
the cycle.
Great segue, because I really need to light this up and I want to see this. So
Yeah.
just gonna bring that to there. And I'll let the time cycle go for now, but
Yeah, so it's nice for gameplay reasons. Also, we've got a lot of people that have done amazing builds already and want to share screenshots of it. And maybe they want the sunrise in the background or something, and they have to wait a whole day cycle. So now you don't have to do that. You can set it to whatever you want. Another suggestion we're getting a lot is to be able to turn the UI off, to turn the graphics off the screen, so that you can take a screenshot. So that's something not in yet. That's definitely something we're going to be adding in, as well as some other ideas we've been discussing today about kind of camera.
I wonder how
tools
long the
to
day and
enable
night
you
cycle is.
to be able to.
Hey Vincent, how's it going,
get
dude?
some cinematic shots. It's things that we've shown before with the Elements engine. We've got to try and get I guess a bit of an easier version into the game that won't be too complicated and require a mouse and keyboard to work.
Reality Enchanted asks in Twitch chat, how does it feel making a new game as a studio?
I have to go to Tom for that one.
Yeah, you've been here longest.
I mean, it's exciting. Like,
Dude, look at how that little like circle
shape
shape works. How it can put it in the corner like that. That's really interesting.
To do some Unreal games, so we did Manic Mechanics, and that was like fun. That was my first new game. This is equally as fun, if not more, because we've got I don't know, it's a creative game, so therefore the ideas that come out of it are also very creative. You're like, oh, what if we did this? And then it's good fun.
Squid asks, out of everyone's gaming experiences, what are certain elements from games you love to see in Reforj, especially in terms of replayability? Or you'd love to see in Reforj, sorry.
Like what are things that are in other games that you kind of like to get brought across?
Yeah.
To Reforj. So for me, I like systems. I like
It's like supposed to be some type of like turbine
things
engine.
that have a lot of uses. So we always kind of discuss in the studio about things like, and I don't know exactly when anything like this will come, but things like adding like a ball, like a physics object, which might not have a very direct, obvious use, but like players will come up with cool things. I know I'd come up with cool mini games and things that you could do with it. So one of the things that I kind of really want to do is I always I always want like less things, but each thing does more. is kind of the way I think about it. Is I want to give tools to players for them to come up with things to do with them, and so that's something that I'd really like to bring forward into Reforj, and I'm sure we can.
I've just been distracted by the tunnel down there.
That's another one I
It
have.
was just behind our face cam. I don't know if you
When
can see it.
can
Am I seeing
we
things behind
expect
you,
to
maybe?
see
Down? There it is.
Oh,
gateways?
It actually
And
really
the
blends in with your
green
wheels. It's
alpha.
kind of like camouflage. It's like, yeah, I'm out of here.
We've got so many questions coming in, so I'm taking loads of notes.
I want to go back, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go
to
for
the
it.
question of like the things I want to see as well.
Yeah.
And for me, I think it's like automation and being able to like you said actually earlier, like build things within, like almost build a game within a game.
Yeah.
So like, I love like any game that gives you like circuits or things to pull a lever and suddenly something happens over there, or things that control multiple things at once. I think once you've got that in a game, you can just it gets away with you, and suddenly you're creating all sorts of wacky contraptions. So we'll have to see some of that.
And that's something we've been asked about a lot. And we've always been a little bit cagey about it because it's not something that's coming soon, but it's something that as a studio we're really excited about bringing. Like I remember spending a lot of hours playing Halo 3 Forge mode and setting up
same.
man cannons and fusion coils and explosions and all of these using all of these things that were meant to be for a multiplayer FPS and making like a rat race style thing or puzzle like labyrinths and stuff. So I'd love to bring some of that stuff forward. That's actually where I started on YouTube doing that sort of stuff.
We've got loads of questions about like when will the playtest, like when will we do new waves, when will it come to other platforms, and the answer is we don't know. We haven't logged in a specific time, and if we did, we don't know if we can commit to it yet. So we'll announce when we can, but no news at the moment, unfortunately.
But one of the nice things is it's up to us. It's not. It's like we can choose when we add more and how many we add, and so it will be kind of depending on what we feel like we need. If we feel like we want more feedback, we can add like another wave in, or if we feel like we've got too much feedback for us to get through, then we can slow things down. So it's kind of entirely in our control. And it's also important to announce for those that have
Why
wanted
are
to
some
get
of
in
the
and haven't gotten
sculpting
yet, is that,
icons
we're
red?
obviously expanding it, but we're also constantly
Somebody asked in
updating
the
it. So this
chat.
is kind of day one Reforj essentially, but you know, every kind of month or 2 or 3, you know, we're going to be adding things, you know, already as we're talking about things that we've added in. So it is really going to be.
I'm still trying to figure out what he's building.
That's the key thing. It's like a steady, constant stream of new things, but we want to kind of like stage.
Is this pre-recorded? No.
Updates, you know,
Yeah.
as well to kind of, you know, make sure we're adding substantial things to the game as well.
Elodie Dot asks, why are some of the sculpting icons red? I think it's the kind of sculpts you make, right? They're different, like, color coordinated?
I think the grouping was, because this is like gone through several different iterations of UI, and there was a time when we were grouping sort of sets of
Space
similar
Station?
tools
Oh,
together.
maybe, yeah. Like you said earlier.
With this current UI, I don't think we've kind of got a color scheme we're going to go for yet. They're just red, yeah. through that's how they've got here.
So this UI is essentially, they essentially call it like developer UI. Like this isn't the in-game UI. I think it's okay as it is. I think it's totally usable, but it is very unlikely to be the final form of what it becomes. And I actually think there is a task for kind of matching up colors with the UI elements in game and on the menus.
You can see how they are different colors. That's just that's something we're looking to address, and we'll probably do a more in-depth color pass on those tools as well to either make them unique or in different colors, or we've yet to decide how we're doing that yet. But it's on our radar.
There's also ideas of maybe like when you're going over a shape, you know, to kind of see almost like a preview of the shape that will end up being made or something. You know, that's something, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that's another possibility. But yeah, that'd be a good thing to hear people's kind of feedback on.
CyberGrape UK says the icons are red because they're evil. I like that.
Evil slopes.
Sometimes the easiest explanation is the best one.
Amazing. A couple of people have been asking about the music, where it comes from and what we're doing with it. Do we know what's happening with the music?
So is it okay, so
Cool, but I can't help but feel like frequently going into the block shape menu
so he
would be a little exhausting.
A lot of the
And constantly going into your inventory in Minecraft to swap tools.
It's
not bad.
Called Stuart Hoskins, who's done lots of the music and the sound effects.
Think of it as an alternative
people seem to be really loving the
to
music overall. So
carrying.
I guess kind of expect more of the same, but yeah, keep giving us feedback for what you like.
Stone blocks, stone slabs, stone stairs,
could you tell us what
stone
the
walls.
numbers at the end of the update number mean?
Like you're not taking up tons of inventory space with a bunch of junk. It's just one block, and then you just have to pop in and out of the menu. And the menu is actually pretty. Since it's a radial, it's honestly pretty easy to work with.
To what kind of branch we're on.
I've not had any issue with it personally.
Other things.
Basically, the number increases, and there's a date there, so we know when it was, right?
There's a lot of information conveyed in a very in that number, which is why there's so many different bits to it.
And there's kind of different versions of the game. So there's the version of like kind of the retail version of the game, which is the one that we're going out publicly, and then kind of like developer builds and art builds that have different purposes. So for example, anything that is going out publicly, we need to ensure it's as stable as possible, so it's not going to crash and stuff. Whereas the developer build, which we're on now, is when kind of new features are kind of getting added in. So you know,
but there's another branch which has even future features and way more experimental. Things we really don't want to show off just yet.
So if the game does crash, it's not our fault. Although it seems to be doing all right so far.
Put that back and lock that in place, because.
On the topic of everything being red, I just lost the comment. There's so many of them coming through. Fuji says, so all of 4J is evil too, because obviously the branding is red and there's a red border surrounding us right now. Are we evil? Yeah, no comment. Charlie asks, what's the plan/idea for underwater exploration? Is there anything in the pipeline for underwater?
We know we want it. We know we want underwater exploration, and there was a brief time when we did have diving mechanic. We're just not ready to put it in yet because it required some more work. But essentially, we'd love to be able to go underwater, and we've already started to put some things down there in terms of like vegetation.
Hold on, I'm gonna swap to my main account.
I think that's reefs. So we think that's we're definitely going to be down there at some point. We're just not ready to put all the stuff in there right now and commit to all that, because then we're probably not putting as much on the surface at the same time. So,
There was a bug a while ago, which essentially flooded all of the caves, which was a
Oh.
bad bug because it meant you couldn't go in any of the caves. But it was great because it just looked amazing, and I actually ended up sharing or someone shared a video I took on Discord of just how they look, because at the moment you're only swimming on kind of the surface of the water, so you're kind of swimming with like this little air gap, and you can go down in the caves are like really deep and dark, and it's kind of, even though I know that there's nothing dangerous down there, it was kind of just scary just seeing how deep all the water was, and so we kind of took a note like
We've got to do this intentionally.
Waterlogged caves is really cool, and so that's definitely something that there's a good chance we'll return to when it's not a bug. One of those like bugs become a feature, kind of one of those stories.
I wonder if they'll answer my question
Also,
about
Space
the
Station is
simulation.
looking good. It's coming together really nicely.
I've just kind of went and phased out and started just building away. I've got a grand vision here. Maybe we'll finish it on stream. So
it is funny. I know why you did it, but it is funny how close to the ground it is. Is the only thing.
Oh, I love all the shapes coming together. That's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that you couldn't. I mean, you could build this before, but it would have been a compromised version of this without that corner sculpting. It makes such a difference, and I haven't had much of a chance to play around with it yet. So that's one of the things I'm going to be looking forward to doing. I've been building a hobbit house, and I did all the roof with kind of grass, and it all.
What's each of your favorite features so far? Waddles in the chat.
I know, as soon as I get that world loaded up, that's the first thing I'm going to do is sort out my roof.
I know that some of the artists have already started jumping onto this and starting to use it. Sishan, who I think posted the picture of like the sort of Venice-inspired tire. He's already like
he's a really good builder.
Jumped onto like seeing what he can do with those next. So it'll put the space station to shame, I'm sure.
Well, one other thing to mention, my Hobbit house again reminded me of it, is one of the problems we did have is
the corner sculpting is actually quite nice. It is.
And so while eventually we would like the grass to kind of naturally sort of spread over dirt, but for now we've made it just so that if you break grass, you get grass. So that now you could get it in creative mode, but we did get some people that were kind of like leveling out an area with breaking away the grass, and then they ended up with a bunch of dirt surrounding their house, and they're like, oh, there's nothing I can do, but now you can actually get grass as a grass element in survival, which is
that's good.
Kind of our temporary measure, but it kind of solves that problem for now.
Yeah, at least now, again, if you restoring the world sort of naturally, if you were to like do a bit of terraforming, is with both of those things is a bit more doable now, which is nice.
Yeah,
so cool. Autos asks, what's each of your favorite features so far?
Ooh.
It's a tough one. I like the glider. I don't get to play much, but when I do, I just love flying around and just like letting it go forever.
Yeah, the glider.
It's so sasatisfying.
The glider feels great.
More. Why don't they let you?
Well, I do. I'm just very busy responding to people. I meant to do a half an hour playtest every like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but I'm just so busy with Discord. So I don't really get the
Discord's
chance.
been great to see. There's just been so many comments. I've barely been. I managed to like scrape the surface on that, but it's good.
I mean, for me, it's the obvious one, but sculpting is like
Yeah, I was going to pick that
I
one.
don't mind the iron block.
But I guess
right
because
now.
obviously sculpting's been in for a game, like the best kind of like
The highest quality.
I guess like new thing is just having mobs in the world. Just even like kind of the Regals flying in the background just to add that life to the world, and obviously we've got like the tunnelers and the Kiwis as well. Like even though it's just like a small handful we have, the worlds before them felt a little bit static because there wasn't much life in there. It was kind of just like the water flowing and the sun, and so I'm just happy to have life in the world. And obviously this is just the start. Even today we've been discussing kind of plans for what the next mobs are coming in, and so I'm excited about those coming as well.
What is he doing with this?
We put our sort of upgraded caves in. Like I guess people didn't see that, but there was a time when the caves were not as cool as they are now. They were a bit.
I wasn't even close. They were. Yeah.
So I really appreciate them going in now. But yeah, I think I am the same. Sculpting is, I think, the most fun thing to play around with right now. I think based on some of the things I've seen like on our roadmap and on our backlog, there'll be something that overtakes it for sure.
Yeah. Even things that might not sound like the most exciting thing, but like the storage container, like that is for At the moment, I think one
Storage
of the big
container.
limits with playing survival is you have to store everything on
Okay.
your person. We have really big stack sizes to kind of accommodate that, but if you die, you could end up losing everything. It's a bit painful. So I think that will be a game changer for survival. And then one other thing that is in this build but isn't public yet is with the trees, which is an improvement.
Yeah.
which
Okay.
We can show an early version of here.
Let's see what he's got.
Oh, let's find an easier tree. That's all do.
Don't lose the space station.
That's good. That's fine. It's over there.
Can't miss it.
Yeah, trees. So it's not going to look too exciting, but now when I break the trunks away from the tree, all the leaves on that tree will basically decay. We are currently in the works of making that a bit more visually interesting. We've got some
okay.
ideas about potentially turning the elements into sort of particles and letting them rain down and dropping a few collectibles here. We'll see how that turns out.
Hold on, I have a question
one
for
of
them.
the problems is for those who haven't
Any
played it and might not
future
realise. So initially we had it
plans
so that
to
once the
make
tree's separated from the ground, it's immediately destroyed and you can
leaves
gather everything. But that wasn't the final version of that, and we ended up kind of quite last minute
transparent?
removing that. It kind of made it too easy to get too much timber, and there was a few other issues with kind of how it worked. But the
Future
downside of this
build
is we now had
will
it so that you
have
ended up with you
leaves
gather the wood
decay.
and just the leaves are floating, and some of the trees are really big, and it would be like quite laborious to break away all of the leaves. So that's another thing that once again might seem minor, but it's all of these things to help the survival experience. So I think the creative mode experience is already pretty strong. You could spend hours doing what Tom's doing now, but the survival experience is something we're
No more
we're trying
dreaded
to get
leaves?
up to
I
a
know,
similar
dude.
level.
The iceberg,
They're super
and
annoying.
obviously, being gameplay designers, that's kind of what
That's gonna be nice to see for
most
sure.
excited about going next.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't have a lot to show in the guild just now, but there's a lot of potential at least. I hope.
Squid has asked, what sort of combat will be most prevalent in the game? Swords or shields or magic? Swords and shields or magic, should I say?
So like, there won't be like magic in terms of like there's aura, which is I guess kind of magic-like, but it's not like spells. We're not kind of going down that route, and then also it's not, it's not like a fantasy game in terms of you're not going to have like an iron sword and shield. You come from I guess like a high-tech colony that has advanced tools, so you could kind of assume that the weaponry would be equally advanced. Is I guess probably as much as I can say now.
Get speculating, chat.
Yeah.
If you have
But-
ideas, but tell us in the Discord.
Ranged and melee.
Okay.
I guess I can say
Ranged
that
and
when I
melee.
ask this question.
Probably, yeah. So
Give us your ideas in the Discord if that gives
maybe
you
like
any inspiration.
futuristic style
So many
stuff,
questions I have to get
sci-fi
through.
style stuff.
Alodi Dot says, add some solar panels to the space station.
Oh, that's the plan here.
Oh.
That is definitely the plan.
So what are you going to do? Is it like glass panels?
I think I'm gonna make
Laser guns?
probably
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like
just
blaster
red
type stuff.
for now. But I will maybe add a glass layer if it's feasible. I don't want to make
Yeah.
the panels too thick.
What would ice look like? Would that look weird for solar panels?
Well, let's do a material sample down here. Nice.
A couple of people in chat have been asking, when is split screen coming? Don't know if we have plans for split screen, do we?
Yeah, I mean it's not something we're currently working on. Like I'm not going to say it will never happen, but that's as far as I know.
They'll probably do it at
that's
some point, but that's like a
not something
later
we're
down the
thinking
road
about
thing.
at the moment.
Adrian Mark says, sculpting is great, but are there plans for elements with the unique shapes? People have been using decoration items to fill that gap.
There is definitely some craftable things that would have unique shapes. So, you mentioned one earlier about that sort of, storage containers. Those would have their own shapes. Same with any sort of, device or station that has functionality. We were hoping those kind of stand out and can be used as decorative elements in your house as well.
Layers, but
Yeah, there'll be. I mean, eventually there'll be a
Nothing
whole
that
other things
flies?
that have a unique model.
I'm not
that
quite sure
you
what you're
can craft.
asking,
Not
Colton.
everything will be done
Yeah.
through sculpting shapes.
In a way, we're kind of already doing that. Like, say for example, trees. Trees spawn in cylinders, and cylinders don't appear anywhere else in the world. So in a way, trees are exclusive to cylinders. Doesn't mean that they're the only things that's ever going to be spawned, in cylinders. But it is, at least one of them.
okay, gotcha, yeah.
Kira says audio keeps cutting out. Chat, let me know if there's any issues with audio and I can get that fixed.
I'm not hearing any
Man
audio
says,
cut
are there
out.
plans for weapons, or will players have to come up with creative solutions for all hostile mobs?
weapons is definitely in our plan at least. You know, we wanted to get the initial like unarmed attack. So although you're using your bracer, we still kind of call it the unarmed attack because you're not really holding a weapon or doing anything with a weapon. So that was our first sort of priority: is get that sorted. Then we'll focus on getting weapons later on.
Yeah, the plan is for that bracer blast, as we're kind of calling it, that you do is. Eventually, that will be mostly just to knock back mobs. Like, it might do a very small amount of damage, but, the equivalent of an unarmed attack against a tough enemy. Like it would be I'm in a desperate situation, I don't have a weapon, get out my face kind of move. But then if you are actively knowing you're going to go into combat, you'd want to kind of prep and get some better gear.
Audio is still cutting out, guys, so maybe we'll go on a break and we can
I'm trying to get the simulated question answered.
We'll go to a quick break.
I don't think I saw it the last time I did it.
Hopefully we can fix that. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to come up with more questions in our chat and join the Discord. It should be pinned at the top of chats. See you in a bit.
See you in a bit.
Oh wait, what did I say they were doing?
Like, it might do a very small amount of damage, but, the equivalent of an unarmed attack against a tough enemy. Like it would be I'm in a desperate situation, I don't have a weapon, get out my face kind of move. But then if you are actively knowing you're going to go into combat, you'd want to kind of prep and get some better gear.
Audio is still cutting out, guys, so maybe we'll go on a break and we can look into this.
Okay.
Audio is still cutting out.
We'll go to a quick break.
Okay, I haven't had any heard any audio issues. So cool information so far. So the corner sculpting looks really good and intuitive. I can't wait to get a hand on that myself. I don't know when we're gonna get that, but it works good. I like the way it looks. The way that it works with like connected shapes is really cool.
Okay,
oh,
we're
they're back.
And we've made a bit more progress on the thing.
This is where it cuts to like, I've done it in like 2 minutes.
Yeah,
That's what I made earlier.
Very convenient. So if it seems the audio problem, it's a problem with watching on mobile.
Oh.
But it seems like if you restart on mobile, it sorts it. Or if you do have a laptop or a computer or something,
Can't
you can
really
watch it on
reply
there.
to the pinned comment to ask a
if
question on
it's glitching
mobile.
for you, then just refresh. I was really tempted
The
to
pen thing is only on the YouTube side
start
trilogy,
speaking and then just
unfortunately.
pause.
I don't have a way
Like,
to
move
like
my
do
mouth.
that
I was like,
on
no,
Twitch.
no, I probably
What's the
shouldn't do that.
question again?
Also worth noting, we are on Twitch. If you want to watch on Twitch for whatever reason, if you're having that issue, you can just Twitch over Forte Studios on Twitch. Naraka asks, speaking of tunnelers, did you guys have any plans of making the combat more environmental based? I think placing a block to stun down the tunneler is really cool, and it would be nice to see more of it.
Yeah, no, I love that, and I have ideas for kind of other
There'd be
things
an upgrade
similar
system
to
for
that, where you're
tools.
using the environment.
I'm
One of the
going
things
to rephrase
really,
that.
That's tough when designing combat for a game like this.
'Cause they
it's a
said there will
sandbox
be.
game, it's really easy for players to find ways to kind of cheese or break it.
I'll
it's
ask
like,
it as you
there's
ask
this
it.
thing that runs up to you and punches you. It's like, okay, well, what's stopping the player just kind of piling up to get away? Because the more tools and power we give to the player, the more opportunities they have to kind of essentially trivialize combat. So when we're kind of designing these mobs, kind of one of the things we're always kind of considering is like, it's different to most games where, if a traditional action game, there's like an enemy and you in a room and you kind of have to bang heads until someone wins, whereas the player has so many options to wingsuit away or to tunnel into a hole and block themselves off, and so we're constantly considering that, but we also want to empower the player. We want to say like, hey, you have a whole mountain's worth of elements in your pocket and you can use them and build walls and stuff. Like, we don't want to create scenarios where we take that away from players. We want to empower players to use them to defeat mobs.
Some emergent like combat techniques that come out of stuff that we're not even intending to be part of combat. Well, for example, we add when we sort of put the water in, we're like suddenly like, oh, that's now you can reroute water, and suddenly mobs have to deal with that. Like there might be another mechanic that we add that's like, oh, suddenly that's now a
They have plans to
either
allow
an
changing shapes
intentional or
without
unintended
breaking.
method
That's a
of
good question.
interacting with mobs, and as long as we're happy with the result and it's not broken or overpowered and anything, then we probably just keep it.
Even obvious things like when we add a ranged weapon, that would be a good time to add a mob that can fire a projectile. Like we wouldn't really want to add one now, because it'd be kind of annoying if something's shooting at you and you can't shoot back. So
they talked about whether they are going to add walls or fences shapes. No, they have not.
Yeah.
The same with someone mentioned underwater exploration. We wouldn't want to necessarily add that if there wasn't anything to find under there.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. I guess one thing I can say, it seems quite obvious, but at the moment, caves are very safe. Going underground is very safe. You don't get tunneler scouts underground, and I don't like that.
Caves shouldn't be safe.
Caves shouldn't be safe.
Yeah, the caves are kind of
There is
boring.
lava.
Me right now. I know, but they're early,
what
so.
sorts of utilities can survival players use to build these creations in the air? Hoverboard, jetpack? I like both of those ideas.
Also, if you're like, say, you want like me building this for now,
Yeah.
I can only really do this in creative feasibly.
Yeah.
We've not really put too much thinking into that just yet. Not to say that we wouldn't, but
There is one idea. I probably should talk about too much. I'm going to see if I can jog your memory. An idea of a
I'm trying to remember.
an idea of a special
I remember.
thing.
I got it. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, there are ideas to kind of bring, I guess,
Hey,
some
Ariel, how's it
basic
going?
elements of creative mode into survival mode in some
is
in
this
some
game?
ways to kind of
Is it like
remove
Minecraft?
some of the more laborious
It's in that same
aspects
genre of
these
game,
sorts
yes.
of games. But you've got to be careful because while we are both fans of tools like that or like automation so we don't want players to be able to game their way out of the game. If we remove too much friction, you think, oh, that's good, but then it can kind of become boring.
Yes.
A little bit of friction is good.
100%. Such a great answer.
So we want to, we want to make sure if you are playing in survival mode, you've chosen to play in survival mode. So no, you are going to have to kind of gather your resources.
Yes.
And if you do want to build something in the sky, there
Great
needs to
answer.
be some way that you can.
God, I love to
work
hear
a little bit, before you can do that. Otherwise, playing creative mode. If you want to be able to do whatever you want, the creative mode's there for you.
We're like half a station, a quarter of a station.
So are these the solar panels?
Ah.
I built another pair up there, plus a pair on that side, plus whatever
see.
stuff going on here.
Are you
I
gonna,
like that.
what about the interior?
Click. We've only got so much time here. To make an airlock.
Just don't go in, you get stuck in it for 6 months.
Ninja asks, not the ninja, how do you guys come up with the name Reforj? Wasn't that you, Joe?
No, it wasn't me. So it was kind of a few steps. So the original name for Reforj was from Squishy.
Oh.
Yeah, they came up with Reforj, but then we were kind of having a brainstorm session with a bunch of different names, Reforj being one of them, and then Paddy, the CEO of Forge, came up with the spelling. So it was kind of like a bit of a collaboration. That's how we got Reforj. We actually had a working title for a long name. Then we had another name that we all liked, but just we weren't able to secure it basically for boring legal reasons. Someone else kind of had copyright on it. And at first I was really upset because I really liked the other name. But I was actually just thinking the other day, like, if I could now change it or change history, I don't think I would. And I think it's just I'm used to Reforj now.
Yeah,
I did prefer the other name, but now I don't. I really like Reforj.
It kind of just has to happen. Like you have to kind of go through those steps to get something great
Yeah.
in the end.
Yeah, there's no going back now.
Yeah, no, I mean now obviously I wouldn't change it now, but like I wouldn't even want to rewind time and change it if I could. I like Reforj. I like the way it ties into Forge, and I think it fits the game really nicely.
Pearl asks, will there be an upgrade system for tools, and what might that look like?
Definitely got sort of progression.
There you guys go.
Progression in the works in terms of like we know we'll probably want to have different like ways to upgrade the mining bracelet on your hand to do more things. So whether that's more tools or being able to obtain more materials, that's kind of the way we're going to go do things there.
Yeah, and one of the other things is, as well as kind of that linear progression of upgrading it, the kind of longer term progression is kind of adding more ways to kind of modify and more abilities it can use. So, for example, with these tools that Tom can bring up here, like there's the column mining tool, which is really amazing, but it's really powerful.
Yeah.
So it might not make sense for you to have that day one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so there's plans for, well, how would you unlock that, as well as unlocking other tools, not just shapes, other tools that you could be able to add to that radial wheel and customize it. And, you know, some of those things will be easier to get, some of them you may start with them, some will be much more difficult. So it's not going to be so much, oh, I had the level 1 and now I have the level 2 and it's just stronger. While we will have that type of linear progression, a lot of the longer term progression will be about I'm just unlocking more capabilities that will either give me new
That's what I like
powers
to hear.
I can do, new tools available to me,
New
or kind of
powers.
new building shapes.
New
So that's kind of the
powers
way
I can do.
we're-
Did you guys hear that
we're
word?
Focusing on it.
Manel asks, would you consider an ability to 3D color elements, for example, purple grass and bricks? Asking
I
the
don't like
fellow
that.
purple enthusiast.
I mean, it's a cool idea, but I don't
think that's
personally
come
like
up.
it.
No,
Covering-
that's a brand new concept right there.
Yeah, so it would keep the existing texture, but just change the color of it. I've not actually heard that suggested either.
But in the Discord.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, obviously, we have the resins in the game. At the moment, they're only accessible in creative mode. So one of the things we really want to do is to get that into survival
Yes.
mode. Have a way for people to kind of craft these elements of all of these different colors, because at the moment you just can't in survival mode. So I think that's priority one. But I mean,
Yeah,
that's
survival needs a lot more
that's something
blocks.
At least worth discussing if you want to have like different color grass or sand or whatever.
Paul asks, do you plan for all shapes to be available from the moment you start a world, or do you have to look? Are we locking some behind progression?
So, Joe hinted already about the column tunneling tool being something that you wouldn't just have at the start
Yeah,
of the game.
but I wouldn't call
think
that a
we're gonna go with that same
shape.
approach with shapes as well. So, because although we have a smaller set right now, there are potentially other shapes that we are going to add and that we want to add, and so you know we don't want to overwhelm the player when they first enter the world. We've got an idea of how we're going to gate that behind a sort of simple progression, so that you aren't just loading up say for example new players loading up this game and going, oh, there's just too many shapes, too many things to do, quite overwhelming. So we want to make sure that we're not overwhelming players in that. So we've got some ideas for progression, how we're going to do that.
Some
Will there be
simple
some
progression.
sort of story mode or campaign? That's probably too far out, right?
So, yeah, I mean, there's no plans for what it sounds like they're saying, a story with cutscenes and NPCs and that
Yeah, I don't like that.
type of quest and goal is that's not the design for the game overall. So that is, you know, obviously we're early. Anything could change, but our current plans is that's not what we're going for. Which isn't to say that there won't be a story and there won't be a lore, you know, that. But we won't be presenting it in that sort of linear storyline. Your finished
Interesting.
credit rolls. That's not something we're working towards.
It's more the kind of game that drops you into a world and then.
Okay, I'm gonna ask a question. Speaking of NPCs, any plans for a friendly mob faction players can interact with
Like there's a person talking in your ear
to
go and do this.
gain some
We
sort
call it
of
archaeological
benefit
storytelling,
from?
which is kind of what we say internally.
Tiervin.
But I think that kind of applies well.
Looks like they're
to what
going
it
to lean
is.
into being futuristic rather than
and
medieval
that's something
type
else that we're
a
excited to
style of
kind of get
Minecraft.
more in. And you
Like
know,
the possibilities
already
futuristic era
with- from just
to
from what's in
play
the game at
and
the
no
moment,
tech
even
limits
some of the flavor
by
text
era.
that starts at
Well,
the
I
beginning
mean,
of the tutorial.
but a lot of the
world,
materials
already
are
seeing some
are
people
not.
on the
But
Discord
yes,
kind of digging into that and trying to work that out and speculating where is it set. Okay, it's not on Earth. What are these creatures? There's a tunnel of scout. Does that mean there's other tunnels? I've already seen people speculating a lot of stuff, and so I guess I'll say as we continue to update the game, the sleuths in the community, like, keep sleuthing. There'll be things for you to discover.
sleuths are gonna sleuth.
Page of like, you know, trying to piece things together.
Yeah.
Like,
Actually, shout out to the people
Yeah,
that are
shout
doing
out
the
to the
wiki.
wiki.
That with the Reforj wiki is incredible already.
I
How
love the
good it
wiki.
is day one. Well
So
done,
cool.
everyone working on that.
So cool. Go check it out. I think it's wiki.gg. I don't know any more than that. There's a whole thread of people like working on it in the Discord already. So for you guys, like, just keep doing what you're doing. Don't forget to add this build to the list of builds.
yeah, I was going to mention that earlier. It's like,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, and let us know if we can help. If there's like something you're not sure, you're like, oh, what percentage of aura do you drop when you die, or what is the damage this mob does, or whatever. You know, if you've got questions, we can have a look in the game and hopefully answer some of them to help you out.
Evan VR asked, what do you think is the most challenging part in development at the moment?
I go to Tom for that.
I think it's challenging. It's like we're almost, a lot of us are like really ambitious. We want 100 things. We want it now. And I think the challenge becomes you've kind of got to like just slow down, be patient, and kind of work out.
So look at the worlds
what
and things
do
they haven't. I hope they get better
first, and what the
textures.
highest,
Yeah,
like,
me too. I'm not
impact,
going to say
you know,
anything to him about the textures
what's the
here because
greatest value for the game now.
I think a lot of people
And
have
yeah,
a
and
kind of
because you've
negative
got
thing, and I don't want to
100
put them on the
ideas,
spot like
probably
that. But I'm going to
way
be
more than
working
100.
with them on some texture
You've got
stuff to
like,
see if
weigh
I
up, you know,
can
what you do at the
maybe
same
help
time.
steer that in a
It's not
better
challenge,
direction.
it's just, you know, it's more of a production challenge that, but it's yeah.
You be
it's certainly,
realistic
like,
and futuristic at the
it's
same
something we
time.
do
Oh
because
yeah,
we
for
just
sure.
We want everything, and the community is the same. Like you guys really want, you know, they're giving ideas, and I want to I want to put these in the game too.
Yeah, and I guess because, you know, and it's not so much us solving all these problems, but because it's a custom engine, which is what enables us to do all, Reforj to be able to do all the cool things it does. It kind of had to be a custom engine, which is great, but it does mean that kind of everything that you add is essentially built from the ground up.
Yeah.
So there's I can't remember. I think in the dev diary you spoke about this, where everything we add, you've got to add a tool first. So it's we're not adding a mob, we're adding a tool that enables us to add lots of mobs.
The first time you do something is the longest time it'll take. In theory,
Yeah.
like once we've got our first 2 mobs. In theory, the other ones become a little bit easier to put in.
Solemn Stag asks, was the Dundee world made by 4J employees? It's a really good build.
It was, yeah. I think it was a couple of different people who contributed it over different parts of time. I'm trying to work out how they've even seen the Dundee build.
And it's been in the Elements Zone
Has
good
it?
trailer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it has, yeah. I can't remember. It was a few months, and yeah, we had some additional internal tools, but using all the kind of, you know, there's it's all the shapes that we're seeing in here.
What was his
plus a
name
few more
again?
that we were experimenting with. But some might come back. You know, it was just more of a
Was it
can we
Tim or something? Like I noticed he's not using the block snapping. He's placing against block faces.
A couple of people in chat have asked for additional sculpting tools. New OG Gamer asks,
Notice
would
you
you
haven't
consider
broken a
making a
habit
paintbrush
of
like mechanic
placing
that allows you to paint
against
more detail and make it
block
more personal?
faces. Remember,
It's kind of a bit like
you can
the idea earlier for kind of repainting
Yeah.
was. It sounds like they
Snap
want much like,
blocks.
like a spray can to like graffiti.
Remember, you
on
can
elements.
Yeah, it reminds me of those
use
shots in the
the
Elements trailer where you can just like flatten out the surface of a hill or something.
Yeah.
Just by like dragging over it.
Yeah, that's a good point actually. Is like there's tools in the engine where you're essentially just switching like what element is there, but you can kind of do it as a paint tool. So I think
That's
in one
like
of
that
the
Minecraft
the
mindset.
demos we kind of
It's kind
build
of funny.
a village.
I think it would
and
be
we link
hard
it
to
up by,
build
like, painting
what they are now
paths
outside of creative
across
mode. Lots of
over large
rotating and
areas.
risk of falling.
And
But
there's
see,
that
look,
as well as
he's not
some other tools that
he's not using
that are kind
some
of
of
in there as
the
dev
like
tools
tools
at
they
the
have
moment
available
for
to
us to use
themselves
for
to like
testing
place
and our
blocks out
build.
in front. It
And,
would not be as
you know, a
hard
lot
as
of
what he's
those we
doing.
want to kind
It
of
wouldn't. It still would be difficult,
tidy up
but
and make better, make them
that's
consumer
what
ready,
you
make
do
them easier
to
control
build
with
something
a,
up
with a
high in the air.
controller
You know what I mean?
and bring those into the game. I was discussing to Tom earlier. Some people have had feedback about basically a tool to make kind of more natural terrain. Like if you dig into a hill,
I wonder if he's
and
gonna bring
want
it
to
up.
quickly look smooth, or you want to build custom terrain. There's a tool that we have as a debug tool, which is like a smooth tool, where you can basically drag.
It's a hard
over
habit to
landscape
break,
and it
but
will
he could
naturally
place the blocks
sculpt all
out
the
in
shapes to
front
make it
of
look
the other
perfectly
blocks.
smooth. And I actually
He's just
think
not
something
doing
like
it
that
because that's
could
not how he's
probably
used
work
to
in survival.
playing, I guess.
If it's balanced enough that you build and it's a thing that you're holding and aiming, maybe on a smaller scale, there could be a version of that because you're not changing any of the elements, you're just changing their shapes. So bringing things like that into survival, I think would be cool.
Evan VR asks, will there be some sort of story mode / campaign? We've answered that already. Got
Yeah.
ideas?
Yeah. So yeah, as we kind of said, there won't be a plot per se in the game.
Zeus 2005 asks, when will there be elements of all colors, kind of like Minecraft Wall or Concrete?
So that's in, but creative mode only. So we have
Yeah.
these different resins.
I like the resin
What
colors,
we
by
need
the
to
way.
do now is basically make a process for making these resins, and we've kind of got
Yeah,
a
that's-
solid idea. It's just a case of in our survival game, we haven't quite got to the point where we even got stations yet. So
Yeah.
we're not gonna we'd only add a material to creative if we can also add it to survival. This is kind of the exception because we really wanted to have a variety of different color elements there. So rest assured we will put a process so you can make them in survival. That's ultimately our goal. Is we want anything you can make in creative, you can make in survival. Anything you can make in survival, you can use in creative.
Yeah, it's definitely coming. It's just not as high priority as some of the other stations, which is probably understandable. But yeah, there is a design for it. We kind of have an idea of how we want it to work.
Prowl asks, currently is the entire world simulated or loaded? When growth-based objects get added later, would they be loaded anywhere? It's a tough one.
Tom?
So the world isn't. I don't believe the world is fully simulated. A large amount of it is at least rendered, and but I'm not sure how much of it we simulate as well if it's a smaller distance.
Because when I died,
But
my
we do know
timer
that
started right away.
obviously we can't just expect to fully load and simulate everything. There might need to be a sort of another layer that kind of calculates those things. So when you leave an area and you re-enter it, it's kind of like updating on the fly. We really don't know how we're going to do that yet. We've not
Interesting.
sort of ready to share the details on that exactly, or it's not fully finished. So
Yeah, like for the mechanics that we've added, it's not posed a problem yet.
yes,
But with things that we will be adding, it will, and so then that's when those problems will be solved. But Tom and I aren't the programmers, so we'd be working with kind of the software team to kind of work out.
So
one of the absolute priorities is performance, and so we don't want to add anything that's going to hurt kind of the 60 FPS performance. That's
okay,
kind of
interesting.
kind
So
of
the whole world will
priority,
not be
basically above
simulated
everything else. And
once
so
they start
we'd have
adding
to
some of the
work
cool
out
stuff.
our system to make sure that we can keep the performance, and also that once multiplayer is in the game as well, that it's going to work when you have multiple players in the same world.
Hero Gamer 43 asks, will we be able to customize our character?
Yes.
yes.
Yeah. you will.
Prowl asks, I haven't timed it yet, but how long is the day and night cycle?
So it is, if I remember right, 20. So 1 minute is 1 hour. So 1 minute of real time is 1 hour of game time is 1 hour, 1 minute of real time.
So 24 minutes.
24 minutes, yeah, 12.
24 minutes. I wonder how that.
And as of the hotfix, you can now change the time of day at any moment.
24
Crazy.
minutes.
So I'm thinking.
okay.
This will look
Time.
good at night time because we can pretend. it's
1
space.
hour
I love the way
equals
the lights are
1
showing.
minute.
If you go down and look up, we can
24
really
minutes.
Wow.
And hope that the clouds is is maybe the one thing not selling it. Looking great though.
Daniel asks, have you thought about allowing two different elements to occupy the same space, like half slab, half slab?
That would be so cool.
This is something I think is, again, us as humble designers would love it, but it's a more of a can we do it on the engine level? Right now, a single voxel kind of can only store so much data about itself, so it knows what shape it is, what material it is. We haven't added the data to say support two different things because again, anything that would compromise the sort of 60 FPS experience, we take very cautiously. So it's not something we're currently looking at. As much as I think it would be cool.
No
There's also a
plans
design side
to
for just
allow
it could get a little bit complicated or messy in terms
two
of trying to place
blocks
them
to
and place
occupy
constructions. There's
the same space.
There will be 100%
such as two
unforeseen
half
issues with that
slabs
as
together.
well, aside from the tech side.
On a similar, very related sort of investigation we're doing right now, we're trying to look at how we can sort of take a decor item and see how we can position it on, say, a slope or a slab.
Yeah,
And I
like
think
things like plants or the
that's
torch.
probably
and
the
stuff,
first
yeah.
step
Yeah.
towards that. So
Torches.
because that's clearly where we need that right now.
Yeah.
I have a question. Any plans
So will
to
there eventually be a wave of PC playtesting? I think eventually we'll try and get around to as many platforms as possible, but it's way too early to tell right now.
revisit?
Reforj will definitely be coming to PC.
Any
The
plans
Steam page is up
to
now if you
Yeah.
want to
Go
wish list it. So
add
it's just a matter of
hitboxes
when, not if.
match object size?
Hoika
Currently
asks,
even
will you be able to
low
crawl so you can place blocks
grass
under?
in front
So
of
there was.
an object
We haven't had crawling.
has to be
We have had crouching in
broken
the game. It was
to
removed just for the Pioneer
interact
program.
with that
basically
object.
because it was a little bit janky, and we kind of wanted it to kind of improve it a little bit before players get their hand on it. So crouching will be making a
Okay.
return. There hasn't been an idea of kind of going like fully prone, but for the crouching, it was like proper crouching in terms of it changed the player's collision. So you could actually crouch through
Okay.
smaller spaces. It changed the collision area for the.
Did you say
the
that's coming
player.
soon, the crouching?
And then there's other ideas. I kind of mentioned some of them earlier. There's other ideas we have for how crouching could work in the game. So we don't know for sure whether this will happen, but we've discussed the ideas of kind of like stealth. Like, are you quieter when you're crouching? We did have the mechanic where it stops you falling off a ledge, which is really useful in survival mode if you're kind of trying to reach over to build somewhere. So we kind of have ideas for crouching, and that will make a return. But we haven't discussed the idea of going prone and crawling. It might be quite hard with just the sort of landscape and the terrain. It might be a little bit weird.
Have to like, again, I think we wouldn't add it without finding like a use for it. So that would be our main sort of reason for adding it.
I mean, prone is nice for
Yeah,
just
I
going
did
in
have
as like
the,
one by one like
It's
tunnels.
just kind of an idea that we've discussed, so just take it as a as my word. It's not definitely coming. But I really like the idea of crouch sliding. I just think would be cool, just because of the way the terrain is, and the idea of being able to maybe crouch slide on
Crouch
2 legs.
slide?
and
That's
maybe
kinda cool.
Then you could crouch slide through maybe a 1 voxel space. I thought was a cool idea. It's not something we're actively working on now. It would be low priority
That's kinda fun.
if it was. But the idea of kind of sliding down like a hill and jumping off and using the wingsuit.
That'd be
I
really
think
fun,
just
kind of like
the
Fortnite.
terrain we have in the world, the fact that it is smooth, just makes that sort of movement really ideal.
Yeah, I like that.
Y2K Jungle asks, how can I get early access? If you head to reforj.game, you can fill out the Pioneer application form, and then
I like the idea of their
you'll
own
have a chance
engine,
of
so that if
being
they
on
make
next
the
week if
performance
you have,
support it,
Xbox.
all they
And
need to
even
do
if
is
you don't have
yeah,
Xbox,
exactly.
Do apply, put what platforms you do have. When those platforms are available, you'll be kind of up there, top of the list, ready to be added.
And you only need to sign up
Absolutely.
once. So if you've got, if you're on PlayStation and PC and Xbox, you can just sign the form, and then whichever platform you've selected, or all three, whenever you eventually get to it, then yeah, you'll be ready to go.
Another question from chat: is there a way to make a full circle / sphere in Reforj? We've got half of one on the side of the
Yeah, I'm
space
gonna show
station.
that instead. So
Yeah.
it'd be a 2x2 sphere, but that's how we can do it with, like, as of whenever corner sculpting comes to
Any
the
plans for
build,
proper bosses?
publicly, then yeah, you'll be able to do that.
You
So-
could make circles without it, but just
Like they
by sculpting
would
around.
have
And then, now with the corner
Wait.
sculpting, you can do spheres as
at
well.
where they have unique
Like with my one
mechanics
of the reasons I
and
did my Hobbit houses,
challenges.
I like making round windows and doors. I think they
Big
look
boss,
cool. And so
health
I was like,
bar,
if I do a Hobbit
etc.
house, I can do those like round corridors that like link between all of the roofs. So that was the reason I did that.
Yeah,
was just 'cause I
Reforged.
wanted
Like
to have
Fortnite does the
round
same thing.
corridors that all link together, and it worked really well.
There it is.
Now I just
That's so
kick it.
cool.
Yeah, me too.
yeah, it just looks like it's ready to like
Yeah.
kick out.
You know what you're mentioning with sliding on the ramps? I feel like I could jump on those panels there
Yeah.
and just slide into that sphere there, and it'll be like a ball pit. Just put a bunch
It
down
really,
there.
just one giant ball in the ball pit, the worst ball pit ever. It's like total wipeout, yeah.
If you asked me to make a ball pit for this stream, I would just be in pain, like just doing the same thing again and again.
I know some people have been playing around. It's not kind of slippery enough yet, but because you can slip on the ice, and I know some players have been trying to make like ice slides and stuff in the game.
A sphere in a box looking
Asks,
accuracy.
what was the main benefit of making your own engine?
I mean, I say neither of us are programmers, so we won't be able to give a technical answer. But just this type of game, the fact that there's 4 billion elements or something in the
Yeah.
world, and you can sculpt or remove them all, and to work in multiplayer where people can be in different side of the world and building things like a sandbox game like this. You're not gonna get an off-the-shelf engine and, without an insane amount of work, be able to alter it to make it work for this type of game. It's kind of really built from the ground up to be, really efficient and performant.
Think the possibilities of a water park Reforj slipping and sliding.
Customizable as this.
Performance was definitely a big factor. Like you could make a voxel game in a sort of off-the-shelf engine, but you're probably not going to get the same level of performance if you just built it from scratch and tailor-made it. Yeah.
Jaeger Bomb asks, what do I do if I apply for PC, but I found out I have a spare Xbox and would like to apply for that too? Can I change my application? Yes. Just apply again, and if you use the same details, your application should update in our database with your new info.
If you slip your hand down the side of the sofa and find an Xbox there, this is
there it
Happens
is.
all the time. It's a common occurrence.
So it sounds like there will be multiple types of tunnelers. Maybe a higher-end boss type tunneler, maybe. I hope they answer that question.
This must be really fun watching me build solar panels.
Here, watch. I'm gonna get them right
I
now.
think it's coming together.
No, it's looking good.
So about
It's also
the
probably quite a good thing for you
large
to build and talk, because it's-
tunneler-looking mob in the key art.
It's very therapeutic.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's you building and not me. I'd be terrible at this.
Anything you
Get
want
your
to
play
say about
sessions in.
that?
Yeah, man.
Get your Reforj hours out. Have we released any,
winky
any
face.
stats yet? Has that been released?
Oh, we have for Pioneers. So, if you're for the Pioneers, in your Pioneer chat, or announcements even, we posted earlier this week some interesting stats about our Pioneers, and I would show you, but my Discord is just a grey screen right now on my laptop. It's on power saving mode. But yeah, we got some interesting stats about like most KBs killed, most damage taken.
Parkour would go crazy. Stuff they said about sliding. Yeah, especially if you like get a little bit of momentum from it.
Have you seen this, Joe?
I have. I've seen it. Like the one that made me laugh is we have poisonous mushrooms in the game that I think it's like 5 health they take off you. It's a very small
What?
amount of health, like 5% of your overall health. And there's one person who's died by eating one of them. And
That's
I'm
funny.
yeah.
I have it
Have
here.
you got it? Oh, there we go.
So
Wanna
most
read out some
elements
of the
placed. Most elements placed is Glitch the Fox with 82,000. That is a lot of elements placed.
I wonder what they were building.
I'd love to know. Most elements broken was the Cowtown with 115k. I did some research into this and found that they were posting videos on YouTube of like making an airport, or at least a runway for an airport. And they mentioned in the video like terraforming the entire like area so that it's completely flat. So that's probably what that is. Super, super cool. And I've loved seeing what you guys have made, so keep that up, please. Most elements sculpted also goes to the Cowtown with 23k, probably for the same reason. Most deaths, I hate to call people out on this, but Duke's Ice has 9 deaths.
I bet that's full damage.
Probably.
That's my guess. At the moment,
fall
full
damage.
damage is really punishing, but we are working to change it to make it a little less dangerous.
More predictable and more fair. That's the main goals there.
Yeah.
Also, Duxley was, I don't know if it's Duxley or Duxie or however you pronounce that, but they were also the first person in our database of like playing the game.
So they had more
other than
time
us.
to die.
Yeah, exactly. They had an advantage.
Which doesn't make sense because I had access before
what are
everybody.
interesting ones? Most KBs killed, 193 from Nash Toys. That's brutal.
That's a lot of
What did
keeps
you
Say
do?
killed.
those are rookie numbers during a playtest. We were basically stress testing everything, and I killed more than that in a lot shorter time.
But that was
I
your
don't- I
goal,
don't
was
feel
to
proud of
just
it.
hunt them. The first Kiwi factory farm has been set up in Reforj.
Oh god. Most tunnelers killed, that noob 620 with 30. That's basically it. Most other deaths, captured Pineapple 729 with 1. Most amethysts found R201 with 7.
Amethysts are really rare.
I've not seen any.
They're really
Plus,
rare.
I've not played that much, but wow, they are rare. Good lord. But yeah, we might keep doing that regularly. So, Pioneers keep playing the game, and we'll be in with the chance of making it onto the leaderboard.
The leaderboard shows up above our coffee machine, so we'll go there
That
and like
too.
yes, take a sip and go.
Does it really? Because if so, that's kind of funny.
That sounds like a joke, but it's actually true. We have like a 70-inch TV above our coffee machine,
What?
and whenever I go to the fridge or fill up my water bottle or anything, I can just look up and see that leaderboard and a bunch of other info. So you guys are technically in the office. You're famous.
I wish I had the time to do stuff to get on that
Tim Ray's
board.
in chat. Sorry, Tim Ray. Oh,
See, Ariel.
yeah, super cool seeing people's build and stuff so far. Super, super, super cool.
So see, look, like, see how he's doing this, and then
How do
he'll
you fly with the
do.
wingsuit? I always drop down with it.
Oh well,
Please
this
do
way is
tutorial
actually
about
going
that.
up is kind of easy, I
Do you want
guess.
to do a quick tutorial for us, Tom?
Sure.
Teach us how
Start
it
from
works.
the start of this. So, we don't have much of a tutorial in our current tutorial because we're just using a random world, or a picked world seed that we went. Yeah, that's a good one. But I think as we move, in the future, if we eventually make a tutorial world, then we definitely have a more a more designed, wingsuit course, I guess.
Forge like their tutorial worlds.
So, but this is our wingsuit. Like, as long as you don't, as long as you keep sort of pitching up a little bit, you can get a fair amount of distance. You can do a little bit of diving to get a bit more speed, and it will just get you over the edge. But trick is just to coast too much. Now, it was a really difficult thing to balance because obviously we're going to eventually make the wingsuit more of a mid-game to late-game item, and we were aware that we were going to put it in so that pioneers could get their hands on it and test it and feedback on it. So, but we didn't want to make it too overpowered either. There was versions.
It used to be.
Yeah, there was versions of the wingsuit where like you could exploit it in a way where if you just kept dipping and like increasing your height and then diving again and kept going, you could basically infinite glide. And it's like we don't want to do that either. So
Yeah.
It's hard to balance because it's like we were saying earlier. If you remove too much friction, you remove the game essentially. And the thing is, the wingsuit's really fun when you fly fast, and so it's hard to get the balance where we want it to be fun. We don't want it to feel slow, but if it allows you to cross, half the world in one glide, then you're missing everything. you're
Any
missing out
plans
on all
to
possible
allow
encounters
to
and
make a
for
survival
enemies.
game where you can
changing
not just run away from a tunneler, but like
these
hit kilometers away.
sculpted-
It's no problem.
Yeah.
But that's not to be said that we're still not just
Shape
fine-tuning
of a
things as we go,
block.
as we add more things.
So you
Paying
don't
attention
have to
towards how we-
break it, then
especially when we move the wingsuit to sort of lock it up
replace
with a
and
premium craft,
resculpt
kinda ease up on
it
We're
again.
not yet, but we're always just fine tuning things.
One of the things that I don't know if this is what they were talking about, but I've seen a few people is like activating the wingsuit.
Yes,
And
I
think
hate
because so
it.
you drop off an edge, and then you press A
Stampy's
to
talking
activate
about
it,
me.
but you have to wait a bit until you press A, and I think sometimes people are pressing A too early, so maybe that's something
We do have something in our backlog to try and address that.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
improving
Please.
the user experience for deployment.
I'm going to keep
A few
dying.
Suggestions that we've got, and it'll either be one of them or a couple suggestions. But yeah, we definitely are aware of the issue and we want to make it better.
But just for now, what I recommend doing is if you jump off, if you look in the bottom right of the screen, it comes up with a tooltip that says start gliding. And so if you just drop off and just see when that appears, then you'll kind of get an idea of the time, because it's not long you have to wait, but it's just you can't just double tap A is the thing.
There's also a gameplay setting or a control setting where if you're, vertical flying is our default, but it might not be your preference. So make sure you have a look there just in case if that's the thing that's preventing you from getting used to it.
I did a lot of research on every game I could find with a wingsuit I played, which is it sounds fine, but it's like a lot of games like this, they don't give you the wingsuit straight away, so I had to do a lot of playing games to the point where they gave me the wingsuit, which sounds fun, but it's basically just playing the tutorial of loads of games, and then they give me the cool thing. I play it for a bit and then switch. So that was half a day for me.
Okay, it's coming up to just over an hour since we've been live, so I think it's time for a break. Do you guys want to take a quick break?
Appreciate that.
Yeah, we'll take a break, but keep thinking of any questions. This is you have the lead designer of Reforj trapped at your disposal. So if there is any questions,
Oh, okay, so
or
he is the lead
suggestions
designer.
that you want to make
I'm
sure,
supposed
hey,
to be having
are they
a
actually hearing
meeting
my suggestions? We are.
with
but if
these
you want to
two,
make sure,
Stampy
then
and,
ask them now, because then there's a good chance.
what's
we'll
his
not
name
be
again?
able
Got right now. I'm listening.
Joe?
So now is your opportunity.
What's his
Go
name?
for it.
And we've locked
we
the
are
door
taking
behind us.
we're taking everything that you say on board, whether we respond to it or not. It's very useful stuff.
All right, well, we'll be back in 5-10 minutes. Go get some water. We'll do the same. I'll be back in a bit. Thanks
All
for
right,
watching.
I'm gonna take a short break too, guys. But just for a second, I'll be right back. Hey, Rat Boy. Hey, Deadbeats. So what kind of stuff? What kind of additional stuff were we looking to ask? And what have you guys found interesting so far? I'd see compound sculpting. One of the first things I try to do is make a short sloped block by sculpting a slab and then trying to sculpt a slope. Oh yeah, I don't like that, Cora. But I think if you start adding in like being able to sculpt the same block multiple times to get different shapes, I really just think you start to complicate things too much. Like I understand the want behind it, and I don't think it's not cool. But you know, I just think if you like, where do you stop? You know what I mean? I just feel like you'll eventually take the game to this place where there's not really much special about it in terms of how it looks. It'll just kind of, I don't know. I think you kind of remove the game's identity and you make the game too complicated when you remove too many restrictions. Like if you compare what you could do in this to what you could do in Minecraft when it comes to like shapes of blocks, it's already like 5x better. You know what I mean? Round edges for slabs. Yeah, see, I just don't think we need to do that. I don't think you need it. Like you can just get creative with how you build to get a good looking effect without having to do that. You know what I mean? I definitely have some good notes. I feel like I've probably missed some stuff because like I just kind of get in a moment of listening. Or I get distracted with another thought. Not really, Blackbeard. They mentioned about how there's some like unique shapes that you can only find naturally generate in the world. And one of the examples they gave was the single element cylinders that make up trees right now. I do think they probably need some stuff. It would make it a little bit better and easier to make custom looking trees. So I just asked, we'll see if they answer it. Do you think Reforj will hit an either public beta stage or a pre-release stage prior to the full release version 1.0? So from the stream so far, do you guys have any notes that you've kind of like just mentally taken of like a piece of information that's been given that you think is especially cool? If so, like what would that thing be? I did take a note of a specific word that Stampy said. So when we asked the question about tool progression system is in the works, or when we asked the question about tool progression, they said something's in the works. They said maybe more tools. So that's cool, right? That kind of goes into my idea I've given. Tools that have like different ways of getting different materials. So that kind of sounds like tools specific for certain types of blocks. A longer term of progression, ways to like modify the tool's abilities. That kind of sounds like, you know, similar to like what we're used to with Enchantsel and Minecraft. And then here's a thing I kind of picked up on, and I don't know, it's kind of reading into the word a little bit, but Stampy even said the word, like when talking about progression, he talked about more new powers. So he could mean that as in like a vein miner type ability for an upgrade for a tool, but I don't know. The word powers seems very interesting to me. That could mean a lot of things. Using that luminous mushroom as a placeable light source, because right now once you grab it, you have to eat it. Yeah, you can't replace it down. Oh, so wait, they're talking about how you can place the mushrooms down. I missed that if he said that. The ability to slide and tools. Yeah, the sliding ability. I know I've made note of some of this. Where's the part where I talked about crouching? Yeah, crouch sliding. I did note that. I like that idea. Because think about this. If you could like do a crouch slide type thing that gains you momentum and velocity, what if you slid with increased speed into a Kibi? Would it like knock them back? Maybe. That'd be kind of cool. Ooh, their sound stopped. I think it's not my headphones, right? No, my headphones are still on. Must be on their end. At least from a survival standpoint. Yeah. Oh, I mean, definitely cool. Did they say that Wild, or is that something you're just kind of like asking about or thinking about? I didn't remember them talking about that. The leaderboard thing is super cool. We could definitely like make it on there for some stuff. I don't have the like time to dump into the game to like get into like most blocks broken or placed or something like that, because that's a lot of blocks. I mean, I'm sure I've broken several thousands of blocks, but like the lead person was like 100,000 something blocks. Like they probably were mining blocks for days for so many hours. I don't have that kind of time. But I bet just to be fun, like I feel like I've killed a lot of those little tunneler scout guys. I'm surprised I'm not on that list. I've probably killed a couple dozen.
Welcome back. I didn't realize the music stopped, so I apologize for that. But we are back, and we are still building in Reforj. Here we are. It's come together quite nicely, actually.
Just
Look at
like the past 5 minutes, I just finished off the solar panels, so you no longer need to watch me build solar panels.
You got one bit to sculpt still. You got one jagged bit underneath.
Oh,
Sorry.
Oh.
Sorry.
Had to ruin the fun.
look, it's under repair.
Welcome back, chat. Keep those questions coming because we have so many to get through, but we've got some really good questions coming in from chat. One that we just missed as we went away was, is there a lot of paperwork involved in the development of Reforj, like GDDs and such?
So GDD being general design document, I hope. Yeah, we do a lot of, not necessarily paperwork like in your traditional sense, but we've got lots of digital documents for ranging from ideas to, okay, we're going to turn this idea into a design document. There is, documentations for how we do things in the engine. There's documentation for everything, really.
Yeah, I mean, for me more so than Tom, that's the main thing I do. Like the main thing I do is express my ideas through documents or presentations, and then on the other end, on the in-game side, is the testing. Like that's kind of my.
It's pretty
main
much
thing.
what
Like,
I've
the
been
way
doing
I think
lately.
of it is, it's not exactly like this, but it's
I'm a
almost
miniature
like we're
version
making
of
a wiki
Stampy,
for a
guys.
game that doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
So say if we're designing a mob, we're writing all of its behaviors. It will get more in depth than a wiki normally, because it's talking about all the sounds they play and the animations and different states and stuff. But essentially you're writing a wiki for a game, and then that gets handed over to your other designers or the programmers to get implemented. But it's always a living document. It's not like we write it and then work towards it. It's something that's constantly being updated and change as the design changes.
Because we're just approaching a design from one perspective. We might end up making assumptions about the engine that are wrong, or we maybe sometimes miss the obvious, or there's another way of doing things. It's like, oh, that's way easier. We'll speak to a programmer and they're like, oh, I thought about doing it this way instead. So our design documents, basically, since they're written and they're implemented, they become out of date. So shout outs again to the wiki folks, because you guys have got the sort of most here's how the game actually works sort of documentation. So
Yeah. And also you kind of have different iterations. So there might be, we're adding something in, and the first form of it might be a more basic version. It will act like this, but eventually we want it to work like this. There's there can be sometimes multiple different tiers of once we've got physics simulations in the game, we'll have this version of it, but for now we have this, or I think a good basic example is for mobs. Eventually, we want spawning rules to be based on a light level, and at the moment, there obviously there's light in the game, but there's not like a detectable light level that the engine can know this place is light, this place is dark. And so at the moment, it's just based on day or night.
Well,
and
there goes my
there's things like that. So
mod
that's the first
spawn
version.
roofing
But once the
with
light level does get implemented, then
my
we'll
torches.
update the documents and of
LOL.
course update the game.
Not Joe, sorry, reading the question. Charlie has asked, will Joe Garrett start a Reforj Let's Play? You've already done one. What's that ahead?
Yeah, kind of on the 4J channel. It's funny because it was a video that was originally it was a scripted video version of it that I recorded, kind of talking through everything, and then everyone was like, "Oh, you should try and do like a kind of a more Let's Play style." And I did it, and everyone's like, yeah, you got to go with that one. So I guess it's kind of do what you know best. I think that's probably the style that suits me. But yeah, I mean, it's not maybe in the spirit of what they were asking as a full Let's Play. It was a showcase of the game. But like I'm definitely up to the idea of kind of doing stuff on Reforj. I think that it's almost a little bit tricky.
It's fantastic. You can build things at an angle so easily. Yes, it's very nice.
It's like if I do a Let's Play and I'm like, this game's really good, it's going to be like, oh yeah, well you would say that. I've almost lost my objective voice on it, so it's kind of almost a little bit more difficult for me to do a Let's Play now.
Boo Tube asks, how long have you guys had the idea to make this game? It's a good one.
Oh, I think I can give you a rough estimate, but the time frames will all be wrong. But essentially, by the time both of us started on the project not too long after each other, and that was the start of last year.
Yeah, January 2024 is when I started.
Yeah, at that point, the game idea that we were going to build in this engine had only been around for maybe like a few months to half a year. But the engine had been in development.
So the idea of
much earlier than
Reforj,
that, maybe a couple of years.
uh,
But they were trying out different things. You know, the game
Early ideas
like,
of
little bits of games,
Reforj
little
happened,
prototypes, but we
started
didn't- at that point there was no like solid. This
late
is the game we're making
2023.
Yeah, it was kind of that kind of first day I came up with a big presentation with my ideas. You know, some of which have hung around, a lot of them haven't or have been developed. You know, but that seemed like there were you know ideas that had come before that, kind of about the world, and a lot of that has kind of maintained. It kind of seemed like that was sort of the start of, I guess, Reforj development.
Yeah.
It wasn't called
It
Reforj
wasn't
yet,
called that
yeah,
at the
but
time.
that was really kind of where the design for the game that's ultimately ended up spawning started.
Frosty Flytrap asks, is the world shaped like a looping plane or a spherical planet?
Looping plane.
Technically, a torus shape, which I think is a donut. So like it's really hard to visualize, but essentially, if I was to go in this direction, I would come back around this direction. If I was to go that direction, I'd come back around this way. And then if you think of a donut and you pick a position on it, and you were to go one direction around it, you'd come back round. And if you were to go the other direction it, you would come back round. So it's kind of like a stretched donut in weird space. But I think if you were to just, you know, whenever we sort of try to visualize the map, if we're just drawing a 2D map, we just draw it as a square.
Raider of the Stars asks, will there be any references to manic mechanics in Reforj? That'd be fun.
Again, sometimes you never consider something until it's asked, but there currently isn't, as far as I'm aware. Not to say that we.
I don't know if that's even come up yet. Actually, I'm not sure.
Just leave one in.
Maybe if we do end up going down the vehicle route, maybe. Like, I couldn't really imagine like just some like old like clunky diesel engine driving around powered by Aura.
AG Mark asks, could you give any info on the way seeds work?
I don't know how they work. Do you know how much? I don't know how much you know about them,
humble
Tom.
designer here. I know that essentially what you enter into the seed field is basically used as the starting point for a lot of random generation. Computers can't really do true random. They kind of require just a little bit of a starting point. So that will determine things like the noise that's applied to the height map, that's to shift things around, or the positions of trees. We require the seed so that in a multiplayer game, whenever you join someone else's game, they know the seed and they're able to create the exact same world using the same seed, without having to send them every single like piece of information. Like, oh, there's a tree here, there's a tree there, there's a tree. No, they're like whenever they log on, they're recreating the world on their console. So that's kind of why the seed is so critical.
And then when the world generates, it kind of generates in like almost in layers.
Will
right? Like it will generate,
gateways? Hold on, I have a
the
question.
landscape, and then
Will
it'll add rivers, and then it'll
gateways
add
have
objects, which is kind of mostly trees,
an
at the
assigned
moment, at
seed
different
to them
stages, and you can kind
that
of sometimes even
someone
looking at the
else
world, kind of
could
work out what those
copy
stages are. Normally, when
and
there's
use,
some oddities
or
like floating
you
trees, it's like,
could
oh, it's because it's
make
the cave
two
after the tree, or things
identical
like that.
gateways
Yeah.
in your own world.
Cody asks, what platforms are you planning to release on? We're currently on Xbox Series S and X, but we do plan on bringing Reforj to PlayStation 5 and PC in the future. Slippery Jimmy asks, will there be a customizable super flat world option? Good name.
I think we're very much, I think we very much want to have like super flat worlds.
Yeah.
Not currently in the works, but they're definitely on our sort of roadmap.
For super flat
Creative
world
especially, that
on
is
roadmap,
to be able to like almost like plan out builds you're going to make.
customizable.
If we were to add circuits into the game, which we're going to add them in, that's kind of the kind of place where you'd want to sort of
Circuits being added.
test things out.
Circuits.
So
We'll
something
put
I'd like
those.
to do before that is just, even if we make
I like
just a
hearing the
flat
word
world
circuits.
that's just available to play. So not
It's so
custom,
much better
not
than just a machine that
generating a
does
flat
everything.
world, but we could with editor tools make a flat world and just have
Reforj
that
confirmed
as,
naturally generating
something that
satellites.
could possibly come sooner before we kind of enable like a full custom super flat world like the console edition had.
Meloon asks, will there be structures or dungeons generating, and will they be guaranteed in every world?
Structures, yes. I'll not share too much details on the structures we're going to add specifically, but the engine
There
can
will-
already support adding structures. We've done it before.
There will be
Technically, those streams are
structures
kind of
generated
using
in the
same
world.
system of, like, it's
No
a thing we've made
details
elsewhere
at
and
this time.
pop it into the game.
Yeah, I guess like, work has begun on kind of the builds and stuff that we'd do for that, but it's more exciting if players discover them for themselves.
Yeah, I like that.
Zafri
Like,
asked,
they just
did
add it and
Boom
it's
Blocks
just
have an influence on
there.
Reforj or the new engine? Have you guys heard of Boom Blocks?
I don't know. Of it.
Oh my god, Boom Blocks was amazing. It was a Wii game by Steven Spielberg.
Oh yeah, I've
And it
heard
was-
of this.
You had a bunch of like blocks on like a podium, and you had to throw a ball at it, or like a bowling ball or a tennis ball or something at them to make them fall down. And then
I have
that's
another
how you
question.
won the game. I can't see many correlations.
Any plans for
As you were
some
saying
of the
that, I was like,
physics
I'm not sure. I
shown
mean, I guess there
for,
are explosions in the
from
engine, I guess. But
the
Yeah,
that might be where the
elements
similarities end.
engine
I do want to. I do kind of want to play
footage
Boom Blocks
being
now.
it's so
added
fun.
to
I had it
Reforj?
as a kid. So good.
Like explosions of blocks
Boot Tube
flying
also asks,
everywhere.
are there any plans for copy-paste editing features for the mode you're currently playing? I ask since, as you mentioned, repetitive building is tedious and takes a while.
So it's a hard question to answer. So, part of the, even just as I've been building here, is quite, you get into this sort of repetitive action, and it's quite, calming, and, it's fun to sort of lose yourself in, repeated placing or repeated mining. And we don't want to lose
We're
that
gonna make a video
necessarily.
about this
So we
4J
wanna
stream? I
basically,
think so, yeah.
Put in all these copy-paste features, in the survival game or even the creative mode. But we're not entirely, like, we've made some tools already to help us out.
It's such a long
ourselves
stream.
Internally for map making, and we've showed it to YouTubers, and they
Hour
clearly
and
have
40
an
minutes so
appetite for
far.
that stuff.
It's
But-
been in some Elements Engine videos as well. We have shown it.
Yeah,
You
no,
can- you-
absolutely, yeah. We think there's a place for that. We just want to rush it into the game right now and focus our efforts on that. We love to be able to sort of build up our survival game, and then eventually kind of go, look, here's
Yeah,
some
survival
tools.
play should come first,
They
and
need
then
to
like
go-
add in
they're
the
all
cool
very
tools
much
and stuff.
internal kind of dev tools. They need proper controller support, proper UI.
What it always comes back to from Paddy, the director of the game, is he always says we're making a game, not a tool, and I think we need to keep focusing. Even you look at something like Mario Maker, where you're making levels, but like they gamify the process of
Yeah.
it, with just great UI and audio. And so I think if we were going to go down the route, we've kind of internally been calling it sort of creative mode plus, to enable things like terrain editing tools or the copy and paste tool. We would want to make sure we're kind of in that spirit of it being a game, or in a very different mode, so it's in a very different category of a world compared to someone who's kind of handcrafted a thing like Tom's doing here. There's kind of the three tiers, right? There's survival, creative mode, and then this would be some
Yeah.
sort of editor or creative mode.
Ooh, editor,
plus.
yeah.
And so there's been every time we've shown it, there's been a whole lot of enthusiasm for it, and we are absolutely not ignoring that. But we're also we want to be very careful
Yeah.
about doing it right.
White House of Gaming says, is that Joe in the middle? Are you Joe?
Yes.
There you go,
I'm,
there's
Jo-
your
I'm-
answer.
Hi, I'm Joe in the middle.
Weird surname. Velocity Flytrap also asks, is the render distance adjustable? What's the limit to it?
The render distance currently isn't adjustable because we're kind of targeting a a specific console right now. It's not to say that a future console might be able to support like a greater render distance, but what we've got right now is kind of tailored towards.
It's pretty far as well. It's
Yeah.
It's pretty.
It's quite a long ways.
like,
I wonder
you
how long
wouldn't-
it is.
It's probably not that far off real life, like human, like how far you could see
You can see
before
the curvature
things-
of the Earth at this point, like.
Yeah, and the other thing is, we've kind of mentioned about how like performance is such a priority, and that's not even just performance for the game now. We want to make sure we've got headroom, because we're going to be adding, multiplayer and explosions and all of these different things, all these more mobs and stuff, and so we need to make sure that we have headroom.
Plans
to
to
add
allow
all of
worlds
that
to be
stuff. And
designed
so,
and downloaded
I'm
by
sure
other
we could
players.
Crank that up a little bit higher, and it would be fine. But we've
I
got
think
to
that
be
kind of gets into
careful
modding,
with
which
doing things like
they've
that to
always said
make sure
that,
the experience stays as smooth as it currently is.
is something that they're not ready to
Another
really talk
Hyphen
about yet.
Devs, yes, hello.
But
Hi.
Hello.
exporting
Thanks for
worlds and sharing worlds is a cool
Is there
idea.
any in the Discord
Any
chat or
plans for
Oh, God.
YouTube chat or anything?
any
I don't have enough
info
space for
on
Discord
being
chat. I've got
able
both screens
to
up. I've got
export
Twitch chat, YouTube
worlds
chat, my
and
notes.
share
I
them,
went through it there.
or
Grab a glass of
maybe
water. I did see there's a couple people
be
watching.
able to send
Hello.
a
Count asks, will
local.
there be a way to transfer your worlds between platforms and share worlds with others?
I was just about to ask that.
Too early to say. Too early to say. I mean, like that sounds great. Like, you know, like
Yeah.
like that sounds like that would be really cool. It's too far off to be.
We don't need to ride it right now because we've only got the one platform right now.
Yeah.
We're fully focused on kind of Xbox at the moment.
Well, there you go.
And then the reason for that is we wanted it to be on a lockdown platform. Obviously, it's Series X and X, so that's two platforms we know what they are. And with these kind of early tests that we've been doing,
to think
they're
about
gameplay. They're gameplay
things
tests. We
like
want feedback on the
sharing
game.
worlds
They're not tech
or
tests, which is why we've
transferring
kind of kept it
between
to at least one family of
devices
platforms. And
yet.
you know, my PC, you know, might have seen the obvious option, but there would have ended up being a whole load of troubleshooting with I've got this CPU and this motherboard and this GPU and I'm on a hard drive, not an SSD. You know, like there's all of these other factors that we'd have to be working on, which, you know, we will tackle. We'll get to that, but it wasn't the priority for this test. And so because it was a smaller closed test for gameplay, the insider program kind of fit all of the needs for what we wanted. Because I know there's a lot of people sort of saying like, why Xbox? You know, why not PlayStation? Why not PC? It basically just it really fit our needs for this early test. That's not to say that this is going to be an Xbox exclusive eventually. That's not the case at all.
Yeah, that's what I touched on in my Q&A video, where it's just like we want to eliminate the amount of things that can change. Like with PCs, you've got different CPUs, GPUs, motherboards, OSs. There's so many variables. I assume it gets way more difficult to diagnose bugs.
Yeah, and also that's not what we want to be doing yet. We want feedback on what's the sculpting like, how's the wingsuit, what are the caves like, how are the mobs?
Yeah.
Like, that's the feedback that we're looking for at the moment, which is good. That's
that's a good answer.
The more fun feedback. And also shout out to everyone, you know, whether you're in the Pioneer program and playing or just kind of responding from kind of the footage and screenshots we've seen. Like the feedback has been genuinely almost overwhelming, like literally, like it's incredible. Like it's, you know, we didn't know launching this, you know, how many people would care or how many people would like have interest at first and then drift off. But like the enthusiasm has maintained and like the quality of the feedback has been so high.
Honestly was surprising. I was expecting just lots of like, just almost like a bullet point of, you know, demands or things that we want. But no, they're like, we've got almost essays, videos, you know, really detailed, you know.
Yeah, I've done some of
stuff
that.
Would, you know, I would. If I was doing the same, it would take me like, you know, hours. So people are generally putting hours in that.
Yeah, and it's gonna. I mean, it has already made a difference. Like, there's already things with priorities that have shifted and changes that have been suggested and been worked on. That's already come from that feedback already. It's absolutely gonna make the game better. Because I'm always, because I know like sort of early access or kind of these closed alphas, you know, there's some people that are like, oh, I'd rather just wait until it's ready, you know, it's finished, which is fine. But even if you're in that camp, it's still better for you because the final version is going to be better. So if you want to jump in early, you want to help shape it, then please do. You'll help us make a better thing, you know. And for those that, you know, want to wait, you know, you're going to get a 100% a better game at the end of it.
It also helps us as devs, like you saying, we've already shifted priorities. It also helps even if we're planning something and we're going in a single direction and people are like, oh, I want this, and we're like, oh, cool, then great, we're on the right track.
Yeah, it's like a sanity check. It's like, yes, okay, good. We thought it was cool too. We're glad you agree.
Solemn Stag asks, what are kind of things you've learned during the development of Reforj?
Probably one for you, Tom, I guess.
What have I learned? I mean, the last game we worked on was a sort of party game, and then before that we were working on Minecraft, but we were very much building, you know, maps for it and sort of texture packs, and there was the ports as well. But in terms of like me as a gameplay designer, like when we moved into Reforj, I had to revisit like, okay, so I've worked on, you know, sandbox games before, but like have I ever actually understood the gameplay loops of them all? So there's a lot of relearning. You know,
yeah, the gameplay loop is so important.
Having to revisit those to kind of.
It's hard to get that right. It's not something that's easy to do in balance, and it's so extremely important to how everybody experiences the game.
For me, because I've never made a game before, the list is just too long. Like the main thing I've learned is how little I knew about making a game until until I joined, because this is my first. Obviously I have some design experience, kind of making things within another game. Which, I'm sure has helped to a certain amount. But in terms of like kind of ground up making a thing, or at least being part of a team that's ground up making a thing, yeah, it's been completely new to me. Like even just some of the mundanities of just like the logistics of how it works and how you organize a team of this size and how people collaborate. All these, one of the amazing things with games is all these different disciplines and all these different types of people with different skill set coming together to make a thing. And even obviously I'm involved in it, but even just kind of watching it and seeing how it all works is fascinating to me. I've joked before, it's almost like walking around in like a documentary. Like sometimes walking around the office is like cause I always love behind the scenes of like game development stuff, and so it's kind of like I'm watching a documentary, but I can choose where the camera looks. So it's been, as a big nerd like me, it's been fascinating.
So I was in chat asking about mods or monetization or like an in-game marketplace. It's too early for us to say. We're still very, very early on. This is the free alpha, so that's something we will probably lock down much further on. There's a question from Twitch chat I really like. How are you three's days going? See any good movies lately?
Movies lately? I feel like I did watch something decent recently.
I'm not a big movie guy. I'm currently trying to narrow down my backlog on games. Just too many.
I'm a big fan of bad movies. You just kind of open up Amazon Prime or something and just like find movies about talking dogs and like just.
What?
It's funny because my answer is there couldn't be more on the opposite end of that scale. Is I'd never seen the Godfather films, so
Okay.
I recently watched through all of them because I'd never seen them before.
No talking dogs in those ones.
No, it's just funny to me. Like you're watching talking dog videos, I'm watching Godfather, but that was like a.
He was a treasure explorer. Yeah.
Was it?
That actually looks really cool. Yeah, it
He was
does.
a treasure dog.
Oh,
Yeah, I can't help but think like
What
what would it
about,
look like with some better
what about
textures.
Any games? Have you been
But
playing any
like the
games
shape is so
recently?
good.
oh.
I've been playing Metaphor a lot.
Oh, okay.
And then I've also been playing Pokemon Emerald because
Nice.
I always need something like handheld to play.
Shout out to Tom who changed my batteries in my Game Boy games. I brought in my
cool.
my Game Boy Pokemon games and he switched out the batteries for
I
me.
actually now need to do mine because my battery's like failing. So.
I gave you some spare batteries, to be
Yeah,
fair. I bought
yeah.
a set of them. I've been playing Claire Obscure, Expedition
I
33.
was talking about that.
Yeah,
I heard
very
Expedition
good game.
33 is really good.
on Game Pass.
I
Nathan, have you
played-
been playing anything?
Have you been in touch with Streamlabs yet about the points gaining thing? I have not.
Bowser Fury, because I've had that in my backlog for 5 years now. So I was like, okay, let me just get this out of the way before the Switch 2 comes out. So I did that.
It's not
And now
super
I'm
high on my priority
thinking,
list
do I
of like
wanna
all the
start
things
another
I'm
playthrough?
like
Do I
worrying
wanna
about
play
right now.
something else?
I recently went through a sort of phase of trying to complete all the games I'd started. So like last year, I'd finished about 5 games in a month. It's not because I'd played 5 games; it's because I never finished 5 games and I went back to them all. Recommend.
I saw on, I've not heard, but I saw on, I think it was Blue Sky, that you talked about reforging the bonus points, Joe. What have you been saying about us?
Only good things.
I
Only
hope
good
so.
things.
Good lord.
Yeah, I've got a podcast I do called the Bonus Points, and yeah, we kind of have like a secondary podcast called Extra Credit where we just kind of chat about what we've been up to, and so what I've been up to recently is a lot of Reforged stuff. So yeah, just
Same.
talking about the excitement of the Pioneer launch, because this is my, like, even though it's a closed alpha and a limited thing, like this is my first time experiencing like a launch, where a thing that I've kind of been involved with for over a year, you know, now in kind of players' hands. Like the first time when searching on YouTube and seeing people streaming it and videos talking about it, or people just posting pictures that we haven't approved. You know, that like it's in the wild, it's out of our hands now. It's really exciting. I spent the whole day just absorbing what everyone was saying and talking about. It's been great.
I got a question for you, Joe, which is: has working on a game made you appreciate games that you play more?
Yeah,
That's a good question.
100%. Okay, like games that I've already like played a lot of. Like there's a lot of design decisions that you kind of take for like just take for granted.
Yeah.
Like when I thought of design you know, like you kind of think of the bigger things. You think of like, oh yeah, they've balanced the weapons or they've, you know, the level design or whatever. But there's a lot of tiny minutiae about like, oh, if we're adding crouch, okay, what if you crouch but then you try to stand up under a thing? Or okay, we want a door. What happens if you stand in the way of the door? Or like when it's, you know, there's all of these design decisions of just like these weird cases where a player might be doing something in a way that we hadn't expected and things that you don't assume. And so the amount of thought that goes into some decision, we think, oh, we're going to add this, and you almost at first think, oh, it doesn't really require a design, it's obvious, and you think, oh no, actually there's a lot of different assumptions people could make about how this thing works. And so that's kind of stood out to me as now when I play a game and it works, I'm like, wow, they made a thing that works. Like, I know how hard that is.
Frosty Flytrap asks, will Reforj be reviewed one day on the bonus points? Sounds like a conflict of interest.
Yeah, not a farm on it. That wouldn't really work.
One more question about you, Joe. Fusey asks, how often is Joe in the studio? How has the challenge of not always being in the studio impacted your work?
So it goes up and down. Like for last year, when we were kind of really just fleshing out like what is this game going to be, we'd have a meeting that would be like a day. It'd be like we're in a room for a day and we're talking about combat or farming or the progression system or whatever
fun.
It is. And so for those, I really want to be in the room because it's a very different dynamic when you're in the room. And so I was kind of up once or twice a month. Beginning of this year, it's kind of slowed down a little bit, and there's been a lot of stuff that I've been able to do remote. But like anytime there's a lot of big meetings together or a reason to come up like this stream, then I come up to the office.
I found that whenever you come up to the office, all those meetings that we think we were going to have in person, they all happen in like the space of 2 days.
Yeah, it's just like, I'm here, make the most of it, you know, like let's talk, because you know it's with modern technology.
Like we're gaining points on a Reforj channel bot,
the offices
but when we try to do a
these
redeem or checkpoints,
cameras and stuff, you know, like
interesting.
We do the best we can with being remote, but it is always
I'll have to try to like disconnect everything and reconnect it all and see
what
happens.
I think for my role, you know, my role as a designer is very different to like Tom's or some of the other designers. So I think for kind of what my role is, it generally works out with me being kind of hybrid up and down.
Garthim says, are you just designing this space station as you go, or did you already know how to design this?
I'm winging it. But I mean, having an enthusiasm for, you know, real life space stations has helped. I don't think I have built them in Minecraft before, and I've built them in other games as well, and I think I've made a voxel version in like a sort of voxel editing program. So yeah, part of me is just kind of going, I know the sort of basics to put this together. You need like a sort of backbone, you need like the sort of modules, little arms coming off, and then you've got like the mini ships docked. So
do you know what makes me laugh though is we knew that Tom was going to be building. We were thinking, oh, what can we build? And Tom was like, oh, I'm going to build a Firewatch tower. And then before we started, he's like, oh, actually, I think that might be too difficult to build in time. So I'm going to do a space station instead, which I don't know, in my head seems way more complex.
You have to see where I started. I was placing things down, going, I needed some inspiration.
Also, so obviously Tom's building, but if there's anything in particular in the game you want to see, if you wanted to see the caves or interactions with kind of any of the mobs or some of the different biomes, if there's anything you're being curious about and you're someone that hasn't had access to the game yet and you just want to showcase or something, let us know and we can have a wander and show it off.
Something like a spectator mode in the pre-alpha to be able to a spectator mode
customization option
and a
kind of to do with
night vision type view,
and so this is like, you know, you could imply
to
by that
really assess the caves in the pre-alpha.
But then we were like, oh, but how do you, like, if we're to have weapons, how would you, like, hold that and then place something down at the same time? Or it was more like these tools here, like, how would you use those and also place down at the same time without having to switch back and forth? I can't remember the exacts to it, but I think it was Paddy who was just like, just put it in the left hand, and then we're like, that was easy. That was that solution the whole time, and then we just kind of just went from there, and it kind of works because it means that if we do ever have like an item that you can hold, or say for example I'm eating while also breaking blocks, we can do those things without having to put too much on a single animation. And
There's a lot of work that's in the controls now, which is to future-proof us. Like, so for example, X is the use button in the game. I think, does it say it on here? Does it say anything on the?
No, actually.
On the controller layout, I don't know if it.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, it
use
does.
item.
So X is use item. Doesn't do anything right now at the moment because but eventually that will be. So the idea is that left and right trigger is for things on your person, the things that you've selected. So for breaking things, placing things. When we eventually add a weapon, you will have the triggers for using the weapon, but then the use will be for things in world.
Yeah.
So if you're using a station or pressing a button or maybe harvesting a crop, you would use the X button. So that button's reserved for all of those use cases, but they're not in the game yet.
Yeah, so it's like, we've got our eat action on the left, but like if we had something like a station, use would be more use the object there.
Yeah.
So we can still like place around it. And, you were very passionate about the use button, and it's been reserved.
Yeah.
It's ready to go.
It's hard because there's only so many. With a game like this, obviously we got the left and right bumper reserved for the hotbar. And
Any
the
plans for
breaking and placing things? A lot of games don't have those functions, and so
button press for controller to give more control customization options.
Context sensitive for the use thing. I didn't want it to be like use could fire a weapon or open a door, and it depends on where you're facing. I wanted them to be separate, so it's always clear what you're going to do. And so I think once the use button is used, then I think it will be worth it.
Frosty asks, how deep do the caves go, and just underground in general?
Let's dig.
Yeah, so the water level is kind of at Y62, if you kind of see the coordinates, and so it will go down. So it's 256, right, from the bottom to the top of the world.
Yeah.
So I guess it goes down to, I think Y2 or something is where it stops, I believe. So it's about 60 elements deep if you went straight down, but obviously it's all twisting and turning. You're getting torches. You're doing legit survival.
Yeah, legit survival.
You need to get some more aura.
Yeah, it's only on 2 right now. Just realised the face cam's covering it up.
You're all good.
So for those that don't know, haven't seen yet, so the aura is going to be used a lot throughout the whole game. At the moment, its only use is to make torches, but it's going to be eventually the main power source for anything. But there is kind of a side effect, whereas the more aura you have, the more aggressive the tunnel scouts will be. Basically, their detection range will be wider for when they attack you. So if you've got under 5 aura, they completely ignore you. It's just like not even worth it for them because they want a lot of aura. But then the more aura you have, the more aggressive they'll be towards you. And when they hit you, they actually knock aura out of you. As well as having the chance to kill you.
I don't think I recognize that.
A risk reward for how much aura you have on you at a time.
When tunneler scouts
will
hit
new
you,
light sources be added, or is the aura torch
they
the main for
knock
now?
aura out of
Definitely
you.
more. Yeah, just definitely have more.
Yeah, like the aura torch is meant to be like, it will be the worst one. It's the basic level. It costs like 1 aura to make it, which is the lowest amount of aura you could spend. So the aura torches has basically become like our default for the exchange rate. So say if we're designing something else that contains aura, it's like, well, how many worth of an aura torch is it? Like, oh, this is the equivalent of 10 aura torches in value. So it's become our baseline for our sort of resource currency in the world as our bottom thing.
Interesting.
There's the aura berry bush as well. You could
Thank you.
grab that. Yeah.
I was looking for them earlier and then realised I lit up the entire area I was building around.
Unless that is a torch. No, it is one.
I'll get us out of the way so we can see the aura counter go up.
Ooh, what's it gonna be?
7.
Well, you got to eat your. Or did you just eat it?
No, I don't.
You got a couple to eat. How much do they give you? Is it 3 or something? I guess we'll see.
Let's find out. 9, 10.
Why 6-2
7.
perpetuating the misoriented coordinate
I
system?
can never remember because
Yeah. Water level should be y equals 0. What was the third item in the smelting menu? I didn't see it.
It's quite difficult to balance.
I don't want to
it.
rewind. We'll
Why
pay
we've not
attention when he
got
opens again.
Things to create, so we might be adjusting things as we go, but it should always try and feel fair.
Yeah, at the moment you end up with a lot of aura and not that many uses for it.
I don't know what
because
that
At
is.
the moment
I'll
it is
ask.
just the torch, but you know, eventually the aura is going to be used.
Looks like
for
something
lots of
food related.
big things, exciting things in the future. So,
There's at least one snuck in there.
oh, I saw nothing.
Oh, he just commented about it.
Meloon asks, is a weather or season system likely to be added? I'd love to see the world change around me as I play.
That'd be cool. Yeah, it's not something we're actively working on, but
I hope not.
I think it's likely. One of the designers, Callum, who a lot of you might have seen from previous streams, he's been doing some tests where essentially using the cloud system that we currently have, which is it's quite an advanced cloud system. It's quite realistic clouds that deform and move, but he's basically been kind of lowering them and adjusting some of the properties to make them appear like fog over the landscape, and it looks incredible. And so the fact that technology is already in the engine with the
Hey,
clouds,
River, how's it
like
going,
some
dude?
sort of fog system, just to add some more atmosphere to the world, especially at night. Like those early tests look really cool. So that was promising, something that I saw yesterday.
Prowl says it would be great to get something like a spectator mode and a night vision type view to really assess the caves in the pre-alpha.
Yeah, no,
Just a suggestion.
Yeah, like I think we've talked about these different. We've got a couple of different ideas of how we do it, but we definitely
yeah.
really want it.
We were. Don't know when it will come. We were discussing that literally today, a few hours ago. We were discussing different options, also just to enable people to get cinematic shots, or also, you know, if people want to get thumbnails or a screenshot of their character, like ways to do that. Like these are, I mean, it's not surprising with me here with a YouTube background. It's something that's kind of like on my mind a lot as well. So we definitely won't be neglecting that. Oh, that's lucky.
Oh, excellent.
Ooh.
That's a big. That's a lot of them together.
Vale says Joe has quite
looks
a
like
bit
just
of
another
experience with minigames
Minecraft.
in his
Feels
farmland, and
odd
the
to
4D team
see.
have experience with their battle
It's a
tumbles
block.
by
It's a block
minigames.
game.
How
So
does that
yeah, it's
impact
going
your
to
game
have a lot of
design and
familiarity to
allowing
it.
user creation?
I mean, like when we put the wingsuit in, one of the things we were trying to do is like think about if we were to make a wingsuit-based minigame, you know, how does the wingsuit feel to fly around, like, you know, a course we might make. But
The
then we're also
wingsuit
thinking
feels
about,
so good.
like, these are the like this can
Like
this
the
is kind of game
roll to
where
the
you can make your
wingsuit,
own
I think is
minigame with it.
amazing. It feels great.
You know,
It's
put your-
infinitely
your
better than the
friends
Elytra
hang out,
is.
I built this and
See you,
tried it
Lyman.
out. So yeah, we've definitely got a mini game background for sure at
Yeah,
Project.
I mean it's. I think it won't be surprised to say like it's something we've thought a lot about. There's been a lot of brainstorming. There's a lot of ideas down. Like ultimately, we've decided to not have it as our core focus for now, because one of the things, so say if we made a mini game where it needs like a custom map. Let's say for like console edition, say we did an equivalent of the battle mini game like Reforged. The thing is we would need to make like a custom map for each one, which is a lot of design and resources into that. Whereas the focus at the moment is really on the survival experience.
Yeah, we want more of a survival game loop, and once we've kind of got you know quite a hopefully healthy game loop, that's when we kind of start to break out and be like, okay, now you know what else can we do?
Yeah. But I mean, it's definitely something exciting. Oh, that's a cool looking cave.
Forget I'm in survival,
Ooh.
so do not fall down.
Careful.
Yeah.
No pressure.
No, yeah, just glide down there, dude.
Speaking of falling down, Alan Buzzy asks, will Reforge have some form of physics, or will it basically all be static?
So there, in the engine, there is physics simulations. At the moment, it's mostly for like aesthetic like simulations, so for explosions like rubble. Tom a little earlier on was talking about trees and about like when the leaves fall, like you know that particle
those will be
effect.
physics things.
Yeah. So there'll be things like that, but the goal is eventually to have physics objects in world. It's not something that you know we've done small tests with, but it's not something we're doing. We need to make sure. One of the things that's kind of difficult with that sort of things is multiplayer sessions. Say if you had a ball that you're knocking around. In multiplayer, that ball needs to be in the exact right position for every player. So there's considerations like that. We need to make sure that you know we could probably throw something in now and mess around with it, but we need to make sure that it's not going to break someone's game or cause them to get stuck or something. But it's something that the engine can handle this type of thing, and it's something that basically everyone on the team wants.
I think we'll see it. It's
Yeah.
the question is when, and that's the harder question to answer.
Yeah, that's always.
Yeah,
that's
I
the
like
big
that.
one
I like
with
that
all of
idea
this,
of having
it's-
some, like, in-game
we're a
physics.
small team. It's a small indie team making this game, and we're punching above our weight with the style of game that we're trying to make, and we're very rapid.
Let me ask my one
development
question
that
again.
people are hopefully seeing already, and so we've got to be really careful to plan exactly where we
You
kind
see
of direct our
Reforj
resources.
hitting some sort of
Charlie says, "Who's your favorite
open
member
beta
of Forge
or
Studios?" Want to start an
pre-release
argument?
phase prior
I don't
to
have a favorite. I like all of
full
them.
release?
That's the right answer I'm supposed to give, right?
Yeah, no comment.
No comment.
Gotham asks, "Will there be doors?"
Yes.
They also
yes.
eat the aura they
Yeah.
knock out right in
They're
front of you.
rapid-firing these questions.
That's messed up.
Hannah asks, "How's the ore spread and elevation of the world? Do deep ores have a chance to surface via nearby volcanic areas, or are they restricted to further down in the world?"
It's a great question, actually. Right now, our ores are based on, they've got material rules, so materials they can spawn within, and then there's elevation rules. And it's not just a case of, oh yeah, we set a minimum and maximum. We can actually set like a difference in how, like,
Interesting.
it's minimum maximum, whether it peaks at a certain elevation. We've got all that stuff in. We're hopefully looking soon to add, we're just going to keep on adding sort of different rule sets. So yeah, if we were to add like an ore that only appears around type of other types of like features, or like,
Or, yeah, like a biome.
like the volcanic vents, as you mentioned, like that could be a way of doing it. We've not got that in the game, that part in the game just yet, but it's definitely on our mind, and that's something that our creative director is looking at hopefully soon.
Yeah, and things like we've discussed, like gold that you could find in riverbeds, that type of
Yeah,
thing.
we want more of this. It's just a case of we need to design the rule sets for it and then implement those rule sets in a way that is nice and scalable. So you don't want to just read the scope for one thing and go, okay, if we were to do something that's similar again, is it just as much work? No, we want to try and make it in a way that's like, gives more agency to the designers to kind of go, I'm going to set up a new ore, it's going to appear here and here and here and here, and we can just do it. So,
Yeah,
get
setting up those like systems to where when they add new stuff, they can very quickly, easily do it.
Says, "How did you get around to designing the art style for this game?"
Ugh,
Wrong people to ask. I'm afraid. Yeah, two designers here.
don't like the art.
Maybe we'll do future streams or Q&As with the art team, but yeah.
Hey,
it's
Minnow!
not so much to do with us.
That was really precarious.
You could link portals to different worlds. Not sure if that is possible to code.
there.
Oh,
You're
like
really being
no, I think like
careful, yeah.
different
I'm
worlds
just
should stay
wingsuit, no
separate.
I've tried to do that.
Because then how
before
do you
and,
handle
like,
your
come
player
across as
data
really
existing
stylish in
twice?
front
You
of,
know what I
like,
mean?
People were demoing the game to it, and it doesn't go well. So I'm just not going to try.
Flares
Even
like,
though
yeah, that's
kind of my
probably
spawn
smart.
point is back, where the space station is. I don't think I went too far.
Yeah, be good if there was a way you could set your spawn.
Would be good, die.
Meloon asks,
All right, Minnow.
"Are there plans to add a hunger/thirst system to the game? If so, will it simply be must-eat/drink to survive, or will it more complexly affect your character's abilities and stats?"
I hope it's not
so
complex.
there's an idea for
Because it could be annoying. I don't
a
want it to be
system
annoying.
similar to what you're saying. We're not planning thirst, I'll say, but there's something like a hunger meter that we're talking about, but even internally we're not completely locked down for how it will work.
Yeah,
so I won't share anything.
We know
yet.
we know there's a sort of desire for another kind of system to manage, for your survival. We just don't know the exact format yet. We've got a couple of solid ideas, but
Yeah, my assumption it will
Hunger
come
system.
alongside or close to farming. Would make sense.
Prowl asks, "Any plans to allow for changing the sculpted shape of a block, so you don't have to break it, then replace it, and resculpt it again?"
Yeah, we were literally discussing this right before the stream started.
something I'd love. Again, we'd have to sort of be cautious about how we put it in, so it feels right. One fun thing about designing with the controllers is there's only so many buttons, and like there's so many features we'd love. We're like, we just don't have the buttons for it, or we've like reserved that one for future use. But we do think there's we are seeing that as a sort of common feedback point. So we're
Okay.
definitely taking that on board.
One
So
thing I'll
considering
say is commit to is like a pick element So you can look at an element in the world and then have that
Yeah.
selected as something that was in the engine at some point, and we kind of need to re-enable it and make sure it all kind of works properly. That's one of the things that I definitely would love, and that's in the roadmap. I'm not sure
Yeah.
exactly when, but
I think that one, fortunately, is earlier rather than later, so it's like, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, we've been live for about 2 hours and a quarter, so we'll give it another 15 minutes and then we'll wrap
They're
it up.
gonna
So
wrap
if you have
up.
any more questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. We still have loads to get through in my notes. Let's see here what we've got. I signed up for the playtest. How long does it take for me to get an email? We'll occasionally expand the group of people that are playing in the Pioneer program over time. We can't give dates
Lava.
or estimations of when that will be, but we're planning on just increasing it over time, bringing in more people as we go ahead, and then looking at different platforms way further down the line.
This cave like size and shape that they're in right now
In
is
the
not
lock
bad.
system, with the mention of sliding on slopes, it made me wonder about different movement tech that could be possible in Reforj. Maybe like a hoverboard or some kind. Would that fit into the game?
Yeah, I mean, one of the nice things, because the setting is, you know, it's kind of a slightly, it's almost a little bit of mixture of sci-fi and fantasy, but it means it can be high tech. You know, it's not powered by electricity, so it's not going to be Earth-like, but like a hovercraft could fit in the world of Reforj and not stand out. So those sort of like gadgety like tech items and tools,
Yeah.
you know, would fit in to the world of Reforj and not stand out. So we're not kind of limited by the lore of the world for adding those types of things in.
Especially since we've kind of like made Aura a sort of, you know, it's a fictional thing. It's like we can make our own rule set for it.
Yeah.
As long as we're sort of consistent with our own rule set.
Andrew Mark asks, besides mushrooms, will there be more colored light sources that the player can use / create?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like, you know, we eventually want to have one for every color, but we don't want to just add. We didn't just want to add every colored mushroom down underground. That's not really exactly going to help make it feel feel right.
You see
So-
the lava as well. You can kind of see the red glow from that. But yeah,
Grapple hook would be
definitely
cool.
gonna be Craftable light sources of different
Yeah, something to
colours.
climb faster. I
And
think is
Frosty
always
Flytrap asks,
nice.
Can you mix color lighting to make new colors?
So it
a
can
bit of a
happen
mix in
sometimes.
games.
I did find like a sort of purpley light when two colors interact. It's hard to see here.
Yeah, you can kind of see it here.
So you used to be able to, the glowing mushrooms, you used to be able to pick them up. The problem with that is it just meant you didn't bother making torches because you just pick up loads of mushrooms. So now they don't glow when you replace them when you pick them up.
I don't like that.
So it'll be, with the retail build, it'll be a little bit harder to demonstrate that. Because you can't pick up lava anymore either, because that was another thing.
I don't like
I
that.
think
I
the
think that might be in the Pioneer build. I can't remember.
Cannot. Wait.
Yeah, I mean,
When
like,
you
mushrooms in it,
pick
damage you.
and replace
Things that, like,
mushrooms,
every resource in the game
they
has
do
potential
not
to be
glow
crafting ingredient for some future thing.
when placed back down.
Jack and
This
M
was
asks,
used
"So what
to
are positive things
balance.
I've noticed about Reforj are things I've heard Joe complain about in another game. Has it been therapeutic for him to bring
The
those changes
cost
to Reforj and get a
around
bit of
torches.
closure?"
I'm really happy with the direction Reforj is going in.
Are the biomes or worlds you are creating based on real life, or are they going to be more on the science fiction side?
Kind of in the middle. Like we want to make sure that it's grounded enough. So if someone's like, I want to build New York, they have the materials that they need to make it and the resources. Or if I'm like, I live in a small village in Scotland and I want to make that village, so it makes sense that the grass is green and the sky is blue, so people can make things on Earth. But because we have the gateway system, which we will have a gateway system which allows players to travel to new worlds, it means we can kind of have this sort of base, essentially vanilla world, which will be more Earth-like, with noble glass and aura and time lizards and stuff in.
Described it as like Earth adjacent.
Yeah. So we want to make sure people can, build the Golden Gate Bridge and, it fits in. But then maybe they create a world for a gateway and it's floating islands or volcanic island, or it's made of candy floss, or we can kind of go much
Gateway.
crazier there as long as we have that kind of
Examples.
more Earth adjacent style world for players.
Floating
For those
islands.
chat asking about modding, we just don't know. It's too early
So,
for us to fully
changing
understand where
terrain
Yeah, with things like
types.
modding and like monetization and
be
stuff people were asking
possible.
earlier, like the focus is on making a game that is good and people care about. Like that's the goal. Like once we've made like a game that people enjoy, like this is other stuff that we can like focus on. It's not something that we're ignoring, but it's too low of a priority for now. But it's I don't think anyone's like strongly opposed to modding or anything, but it's just not something that's our focus at the moment.
Connor asks, what's a 5-word sentence to describe the game?
Five
I
words.
think it is good. That's mine.
That's such a
Right,
weird question to ask.
Build, craft, sculpt, explore, fight.
Good.
That's not a sentence. That's just words.
There was a comma between every word. It's just all verbs.
You can craft it fun. No.
Reforge the
Pass.
world. Go on.
Go on.
Go on.
If you have like shape the world, join us.
Sign up to Pioneer Program. I like that one.
Yeah, I just came out of my cave and agreed with the space station.
It's cool. Someone looks better. I don't know. Maybe I forgot how cool it looks.
If
You
that-
just
if that
emerge,
just-
it's just there.
If that doesn't sum up this game, this can say more than
Yeah.
words can. Just like coming out of a cave after exploring for a bit and going, oh yeah, I built that earlier and just forgot.
One of the things that we've kind of said, not even just internally, I think we said publicly, is but like we say like beyond blocks is kind of one of like the common things people throw around. And I think the space station is a good example of that, of like those domes and the curved shapes. Just having those sort of curved shapes or like slanted shapes. It just means the scale of what you are building doesn't need to be enormous.
Yeah,
Say if you just had blocks, everything has to kind of be big if it's curved, whereas you can kind of do 1-to-1 scale with the sculpting.
I was quite lucky that I built it. The scale was kind of built so we could build it in time, but it meant that if I was to get that kind of level of diagonal, I'd have to kind of build a lot bigger if it was just the cubes. It means I can do all this as well. I didn't really give myself much room for interiors at all, but.
So something else I've been playing with, I think I spoke to Tom about it a bit, is things like those curved shapes. It's really interesting platforming on kind of all these different angles and curves and stuff.
Yeah.
So one of the things for those that are in the Pioneer program I'd like to see is someone to make like a parkour course. With all these different shapes and jumping from a slanted surface to like a curved surface, it feels really different. But I've been really enjoying it. That's something that I'd want to spend more time playing around with to kind of see how that feels, because obviously there's a lot more leniency when you're going on a curved surface or off a curved surface compared to like a hard edge. So we're speaking earlier about Total Wipeout. Maybe we need a Total Wipeout course done in Reforj.
I do love that blue sphere.
Hope they have texture packs.
It's really
Yeah, I would expect they probably will. It's just a matter of like when do they get to it.
Okay. Alistair asks, what game is the engine built on? The Elements engine, custom built. We touched on it earlier, but it's our own custom built engine that we can do anything we want with. Will there be drinks?
we have an idea.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it yet.
Oh, God.
So it probably won't be coming soon, but we do have ideas for drinks.
Interesting.
Will the game be playable on mobile? We have no plans for mobile at the moment. Prowl asks, will any plans for some of the physics shown in the Elements engine footage being added to Reforj, like explosions of blocks flying everywhere?
Absolutely. And
That's
kind
awesome.
of the point of why we made those in the first place, and B, even shared them. Just we wanted to kind of.
Where
show,
did I typed
hey,
out
you can-
physics
like,
earlier.
The game can do this. Reforj will eventually do things like this, like moving at fast speeds and explosions. Again, when it came to the game we're making right now, we want to kind of start from the beginning, build the survival game up.
That's
to
really
those
cool.
points. If we just put in all these crazy vehicles that can
I can't wait to see that
landscape
kind of
with-
stuff.
with no friction. Then
Yeah, we need a reason for you want to travel to
you
places
want-
in it.
You also want to build up to that as well. You want to get the reward of like, hey, I've spent lots of time gathering resources and crafting and processing these things to make all these cool things. So.
Cape 41 asks, might other dimensions you visit have different sizes? For example, could you have a more vertically oriented dimension that goes much higher than 256 elements?
Probably not. I feel like it'd be hard for them to
Yeah,
do.
well, no comment really. We don't fully know. No, I mean at the moment it's
A terrain
it's not
blending
really
tool? No, not yet.
dimensions in the way that you
They
might
kind
be
of talked
thinking.
about they're not really
Like, when you
thinking
create a
about
gateway,
tools right
you're
now because they just want to make a game that's fun to play
generating a
first,
new
and then they'll worry about
world.
tools
You
and
know,
stuff later.
You could, in theory, make a new world kind of like your world. And so, say if we release an update to add new materials rather than making a new save, you could create a gateway, travel to that world, and bring resources across. And then, we want to add some more kind of variety in the type of things that you do. Smaller and bigger worlds is something that we'd love to do. I like the idea of making a really small like planetoid with really upping the curvature of the world and kind of almost like Mario Galaxy style. I think there's cool things that you could do with that, but I can't say for sure that will be coming. I guess like we'll have to all wait and see to when we
It's
kind
not
of
in the
begin
realms
working
of
on that.
possibility. We just don't know what our rule sets for those like additional worlds. We've still got the first one to kind of.
Yeah. I mean, we would like that too, I guess, is what we can say.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see whether the tech and the design ends up supporting that. This is cool. Your little shrine to the sphere. You could add a few like green bits on it and look like the Earth.
Oh my god.
As a continent.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea because then I can. It'll feel right beside that.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. The view from up
That's
there.
funny.
Then so this is where we need to make a smaller one to like the moon. We need a smaller circle.
Nice.
As good as we're gonna get. We're just gonna add two.
We can make a universal intro.
Looks like Pac-Man.
That's funny.
Oh my god, you could make such a good Pac-Man.
It looks like a face. Like a smiling face when
Yeah,
you go
yeah,
to the green
yeah.
on the front.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
leave making that for the community.
Wow.
But first person in the Pioneer program to make a Pac-Man and send it to us wins honor and pride.
I should hop it right now. Do it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, so they can't yet because they haven't got corner sculpting. Sorry.
Oh, yeah,
Once
this is
corner
true.
sculpting's added.
That's our moon.
Will players be able to create mob farms where hostile creatures like chickens and skeletons are trapped?
Please.
Like Minecraft.
I think even if we don't intend to add them in, they will get made anyway. So it's just kind of an inevitability. As soon as we give you the ability to like place and manipulate water, I think that's game over for the mobs. People will find ways, and I'm excited to see what they
Yeah.
do.
And in general, farming is absolutely something where we'll be adding to the game when it makes sense. So funny, like Nathan's like hub here, the amount of the screens and different chats and different views and stuff. You're
I have so much information flowing into my brain.
Reforj HQ, all
Yeah.
going on it. It's crazy. All the information coming
So many
in.
tabs.
I could probably show chat actually. Let me double check. I'm gonna make sure I'm not like leaking anything.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
If I do it like here, you can probably make it out and not. There you go. So I've got two chats, I've got both streams, and I've got my own notes.
And
You can
another
kinda make it
monitor
out
there. With
Yeah,
with
and then a
more
whole
notes.
other monitor.
Yeah, another monster with the stream on it and the chat again, just off camera.
Did somebody ask? I don't think
Thank you for
anybody
the
asked about a
questions,
pick
though,
block.
chat. Really appreciate it. We'll
Yeah,
try
great
and answer a couple
questions.
more. Any like one-liners? Any yes or no questions, chats? Any rapid
Will
fire?
controllers have
No, Nathan said that.
multi-button?
Like a massive smile.
Will
It's like the old,
consoles?
like, I don't know what it's even called, but there was like a
Will
an old, like,
there
yellow
be
face on the internet like, as a meme years ago.
button press
I don't know if I could pull it
support
up.
for controllers?
Chat will know what I'm on about. Smile face meme. Yeah, this thing.
Oh yeah. It's an
Let me size this up.
awesome face.
Yeah,
meme.
something like that. Chat, hopefully you can see this. That one. Reminds me of that.
I'm just thinking of people that have just clicked on the stream now and they're like, oh, Reforj stream, what are they talking about?
I'm gonna have to make that, aren't
How many people were
Are you gonna
watching?
try and make it?
They have 150.
You were worried about
There.
Namco suing us
Yeah.
for making Pac-Man, Pac-Man.
You were worried
but
about
you can do
Namco
also suing us
Yeah.
for making Pac-Man, Pac-Man.
worried
but
about
you
Hey,
can
you
do
might
also
ask,
And
what's your guys' favourite
15
build
on Twitch.
I like
And
their very first build that was posted in the Discord that was just the word hello, because that was the first ever like piece of user-generated content ever. It's historical. I think we pinned it in Reforj chat.
I? I've seen someone animated like the Kiwi, which I thought was really cool.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It was like a hand-drawn animation.
Yeah, the unofficial soundtrack was cool as well. Lots of people come to cities, modern builds like big bridges has been really cool to see, and just really like people embracing the sculpture tools, like doing like a house, but with like a lot of depth and different layers and
Put
indents
black in there.
and stuff that is better than what I could do. People that have been playing it for like a week or so, been really impressive to see. I'm really looking forward to when brilliant when multiplayer's in and like people can team up together to make mega builds. That would be cool.
Matt and L says, Nathan working hard or hardly working? Both. Okay, I think that's all the questions we're going to be able to get around to today. Any last things you guys want to like talk about or announce or mention?
Question for you. We're doing these again, right?
Yes, we'll hopefully do more streams in the future. Obviously the build is now out and you guys can play it, so we have a build that we can share without risk of accidentally leaking something or announcing something. Like before we announced the Kibi, we were taking screenshots to show off the environment, but there were Kibis in the background, so we had to kind of erase them, go in and Photoshop them. I had to put under the tweet.
Always trying to steal the
screenshot has been-
spotlight, those stupid Kiwis.
I had to put in the thread to the tweet. We've edited some parts of this image that haven't been announced yet, so now you know that was the Kiwi. So yeah, there's a build out there. We can stream it, we could share it, because you guys are playing the same thing. So hopefully we'll be able to do more streams like this more often.
Kinda cool.
We've also got loads of ideas for YouTube content, high-listening community content. We're going to be interacting with the community, so tweet us and post everywhere. YouTube videos we look at.
Go on the
tweets.
Discord. The Discord.
Discord
That's
is
the
the
Discord's
core
popping
place.
off at the moment. That's the place to be. And it's all members of the Forge team are on there. Like it's if you're posting in like the Reforj feedback or questions channel like that's going to get eyes on it from someone on the dev team, and we have meetings going through it and discussing it. Like we are listening. We promise.
If you see comments from 4J5, that is me. Just to put a face to the name.
Yeah.
Or
Okay, so I think
J5.
we're going to wrap it up here. It's been.
I think
2.5
he's responded
hours
to some of my
since
stuff.
that, so we're all going to relax and have a call off. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you for giving us some amazing questions. I hope that you've learned a lot more about the world of Reforj and what we've got in the pipeline. And obviously you've seen.
Okay.
The
Yep. He's
corner
responded to
tools.
some of my stuff about sculpting.
It's called a corner sculpting. It's
Corner
just
sculpting.
it's a feature of the
Yeah,
sculpting.
it's not its own
That's not a
tool.
tool.
It's just an evolution of
It's a
the other
feature.
tools. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you've seen that for the first time. So, yeah, if you want to see more sneak peeks of things we're working on, join the Discord, discord.gg/Reforj. We're in there all the time.
Yeah,
Pretty much the
pick block.
entire
Yeah, they
Forge
didn't answer
software in
anything
there,
about that.
And we have a look around too.
I imagine something like that will at some point exist, if I had to guess.
Feedback, all your content. I love seeing it. The whole team loves seeing it. So please jump in there. Also, if you have any more questions that we didn't get around to, join the Discord and you can ask in there. Also, the VOD will be available for this stream, so you can go rewind and watch the whole thing again and see if we answered any questions we might have missed. If we didn't answer any questions on stream today, it's either we don't know or we can't say. But if you want, you can still ask on the Discord, and we might get around to you again if we can say, and we do know. But that's it. Join
Cool,
the
good
Discord.
stream, good information.
Also sign up to the Pioneer program if you're interested in playtesting at reforj.game. And that's basically it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for making content. Thanks for asking questions. And we'll see you hopefully not too soon, not too far away in the future. Not too soon.
Get out of here, you lot. Don't come back.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be back at some point in the future.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys.
Catch you
Bye.
later.
And they're gone. Hey, 4J, where is my raid? I'm just kidding. So a lot of good information was there, honestly. I took a decent amount of notes. It'll take a little bit of time to go through and kind of sort these out, I think. And make like a maybe like a recap video or something based off of it, where I could just throw these things into categories of like information, new information that we learned. I feel like there's probably some stuff in here that I missed that would have otherwise been part of this. So I don't know if I'll have the time to go back and listen to the 2 hours again to kind of find those things. So I'll probably rely on like comments and stuff to kind of keep me informed about things that I maybe missed. But lots of really cool ideas here. Like I said, I think I have like some type of like meeting or get together with Fife and Stampy in the near future, maybe next week. I don't know what specific things they want to talk to me about or get my thoughts about, but that'll be cool. That'll be really fun to get involved in like a little bit deeper of a way in the game. That'll be really fun. What'd you guys think though? Good information? Did you like what you saw? And the stream's over. Did it officially end if I hit refresh? Yeah. We did get this video out. Hopefully some people find it and our ideas kind of get out there. If people tend to like them, and maybe Reforj will take notice of it. Definitely go watch it if you haven't. We'll be ending stream here in a second. I want to get some video based stuff kind of done, recorded, finished. I'm going to eat some lunch and yeah, just kind of get some content together for you guys. Let me exit that out. But otherwise, yeah, I like the stream. Hopefully there'll be more, at least once a month. We'll see. Yeah, I don't know. I guess they'll probably do it as often as they feel like they have some like good information to put out there, and like maybe when some new stuff and new information comes out. I'm sure it's quite taxing. Like, you know, that this whole stream takes up not only the couple hours of their time that it takes for them to be live, but I'm sure it takes a couple hours to prep and a couple hours to decompress after the fact. So like those guys lose at least half of a day, if not a full day of work almost, to doing something like this. So it's probably why you won't see it like super often, I would think. But still, it's good to see. It's nice to have that level of like interaction with them. It's something I've been craving from Minecraft for such a long time, from Mojang, because I don't know, the studio Mojang has gotten so big, they don't do this type of thing anymore, even though you still could definitely do it if you made it a priority and you wanted to. But just having that level of communication with the developers, coming, you know, that straight back and forth with the community, kind of like seeing their personalities and hearing from them, it just makes you feel good about what they're working on and what they're doing, because you get all of that out of it. It adds a lot of like personality behind what's happening in the game, and you get to see the level of care that they have. I liked most of what they had to say. They talked a lot about like that balance, and not, you know, you don't want to remove too many friction points, and there's probably like some little areas that I like disagree or like veer off slightly from what they're doing, but for the most part, like everything sounds really good. Really, the biggest pain point in the whole game for me right now is just the art direction. I just really don't like it. I really hope they change it, because I'm definitely afraid that it's going to turn a lot of people off from the game before they ever give it a chance. And if you do that, your game, as good as the design behind it may be, might not ever be able to be really successful. Another thing I kind of disagreed with a little bit, that they're leaning towards doing, is I don't know how I feel about vehicles in a traditional sense. I guess we'll see. I might be okay with it. It's a fun, cool idea and concept. I just you know, maybe they have to be powered by Aura or something. There has to be some type of restriction behind it. Because I think if you make fast traveling around the world, fast free travel too easy, then that could be a problem. But maybe if there's vehicles and the more efficient to drive around or move around vehicles have to require some type of like a path or a roadway to move, that would be cool. And then like some maybe slower moving ones that aren't as effective in terms of a form of travel around the world exist, but they don't require like the roads or something. I don't know. I'd have to like really think about it. But yeah, go check out the video, guys. I do appreciate you hanging out. It's been super fun. Props to the Reforj team for putting together a good stream. I don't know if they'll see this or not, but it was a great stream, very informative. Glad I stuck around and watched it. And I'll try to get you guys a recap put together so we can get that out. Thanks, everybody. You have a good afternoon. And I probably won't see you tonight because my son's got soccer practice, but I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.